was ghetto for a while and kind of until it wasn't. So
Wow.
that's why like every day is just so cool because it's like you really do get to not have to like work in a factory or work in a
Yeah.
fast food place or work at a gas station where you can't take a break and you can't really do anything for yourself.
Yo,
Hello.
how are you?
Good. How are you?
I'm peachy,
Peachy. Good.
I guess. I don't know. I'm good, man.
Good. Good. Can you hear me okay?
Yeah, I can hear you fine.
Good.
Everything
'Cause
good?
this is just my laptop. I have no headphones or fancy anything.
Yeah, we'll make it work. Usually, usually the people that just use their phone or just use their laptop end up sounding and looking better than people who go out and get fancy mics and cameras and all that fun stuff. So.
Well, good. Hopefully it sounds fine.
Yeah. No, you're good, man. So how you been?
Good. Very good. Busy. Trying to stay busy. Hot. It's
Yeah.
like kind of getting into summer in Ohio, so it's like 82 at 7:30 in the morning, which is wonderful.
Oh, you poor baby.
I know.
Come down to Florida.
Is it hot there? I've heard it's hot there.
It's a little bit. It's not.
And I don't have.
It's the old saying. It's not the heat. It's the humidity. It's the
Oh, is
humidity.
it? Okay, that's what they all say. Yeah.
I mean, it's nuts. We had a pretty good storm, which was actually nice. Like it started early, probably like around 12:30. I mean, lots of thunder, lots of lightning. It was a good old fashioned Florida afternoon thunderstorm, but it cleared up by like around 4 or whatever. Michelle got home and she's like, "You want to go for a walk?" And I was like, "Yeah." It was like all nice and cloudy out, like be cool. No, there's so much damn humidity in the air. We still
Yeah, you want to go for a sweat? Oh,
yeah, that's pretty much what it was. I mean, thankfully, at least, I mean, it's better than when we normally go and it's like, 95 degrees and then the humidity on top of it. So, most days it just feels like the sun's like right there on your shoulder, just like, hey, I'm right here. How you doing? It's gonna be along for the ride.
Yeah. Well, Ohio, it's weird because like we have like 7, we have the 4 main, but it's like right now we're in like third fake summer. So it's
Yeah.
like it'll still get really nice and cool, but then it's like we're not in real summer yet. First day of
Yeah.
summer is what, like, did that happen yet? I don't even
Usually
know.
it's like July, August is real
Yeah.
summer.
Mhm.
Yeah. We're in we're in like regular summer right now.
Okay.
And then it's getting ready to go to like summer on steroids.
Okay.
And then it'll go to like back to regular summer. And then it'll be like summer junior until March of next year.
Yeah, we're in like the first fake summer, third fall, spring right now. We're almost
Gotcha.
there.
Yeah. I mean, technically today is the first day of summer.
Is it? Shit,
Yeah.
it's 21st or 20th? 20th.
Whatever
Okay.
today is. I don't know.
Whatever today is.
Yeah. I don't pay attention to dates
I was
anymore.
just telling somebody the first day of summer is in like a month, and now you're telling me it's today. Jesus.
Yeah. Yeah, that's what they were saying on the radio today. They said today is the official first day of summer. So
That was a fast month then.
yeah.
My
Yeah.
dogs are outside barking, so I was just like, what are they doing now?
Yeah, it goes fast when you're not paying attention. So
Yeah.
yeah. So
4th of July will be here. That's my family's already like, yeah, you getting ready for the 4th? And I'm like, yeah, it's in like 2 months, right? They're like, it's in 10 days, Tim.
yeah,
We're doing it the week. We're doing it a week early, so it's actually in like 4. I'm like, oh, I'm ready. Yeah,
nice.
see you
Yeah,
there. What should I
yeah,
bring?
yeah. Haley's birthday's the 6th, so we usually do like her something for her birthday, like on the 4th, because then like everybody's off, and
hmm
we can invite people over and do a little pool party, cookout, whatever for her birthday. So yeah, so that's coming up real soon.
That'll be fun. Do people go out of town like and miss her birthday, or like are her friends always like in town?
We've never. It's always been weird. So like when she was little, preschool and everything like that. Most people are out of town, so we
Right.
never really did parties for her. It was always kind of do something with the family, and then like her best friend growing up from like the age of 2 to like 12, for that like 10 years they were pretty inseparable, and her best friend's birthday was 2 days after.
Oh,
So
jeez.
so we would like do something family, and then we would do something like with them,
Yeah.
and let the girls kinda do, a birthday together. So we've never really done birthday parties for her, like traditional style birthday parties, because some people are out of town, some people aren't, whatever. Um, and then, like, you know, I think a couple of years ago when she, became a teenager, we asked her, like, "Hey, do you,"
Right.
because now there's more more people, and not
Right.
everybody's,
Because
out of
little kids
town.
just kind of get told what to do. They don't really have a say in it.
Right, right.
Any
So we
holiday. Yeah.
yeah, so we told her, we're like, "Look, do you wanna do a party? Like, do you wanna invite, your friends from cheer, your friends from high school, like, whatever over?" And she's like, can I just do, like, a sleepover with, like, 2 of my friends?" We're like, "Okay."
Like, perfect.
Like,
You don't want a block party?
yeah,
Cool.
exactly, You don't want us to spend hundreds of dollars going somewhere and, like, bringing all
Yeah.
these little kids, and, well, not little kids, but whatever. So
Yeah.
Yeah,
Teenagers.
so this year, because this year is gonna be her sweet 16,
hmm
so what she wanted to do was, she wanted to go to the beach for the weekend. So, Michelle's taking her and, like, 2 or 3 of her friends, and Michelle rented a hotel over there. So, like, even better for me, because both of them are gonna be gone, I get the weekend by myself.
There
So,
you go.
yeah. Nobody around to bother me or tell me what to do, man. It's gonna be awesome.
Right. There you go.
Vacation for Alex.
Yeah. 4th of July will be fun. I don't think I have any family that's right around there.
Yeah.
But my sister's is July 25th, so like Christmas in July, sometimes
Oh,
it's
okay.
always hard to make plans then. 'Cause it was like, oh, Christmas in July, and I'm like, that doesn't really track for us, but I guess you'll be out of town. Okay, sounds good.
Yeah.
So
Yeah. No, that's cool. Yeah, Michelle's birthday is the 29th of July. So we have Haley's at the beginning of July, and then Michelle's at the end. Um yeah, July's a birthday month in the household for us.
bunch of
So
Leos then.
what's that?
Bunch of Leos then.
Yeah.
Yeah, so are both
Yeah.
my sisters. That's the hers is the July 25th, and my other sister's is August 2nd, but like a couple years
Okay.
apart. So they're just
Yeah.
both
Yeah.
older Leos.
Yeah. Yeah. So what's been going on, man? Dude, we should have done this a long time ago. You know, so let's talk, man. Like, I don't know. What do you want to talk about?
I don't know. Yeah, all kinds of fun stuff. I've been bouncing around all over the place, going to Alabama, Houston,
How
Missouri,
was the Houston thing?
Indiana. That was amazing. Shine Time
Was
was
it?
a whole lot of fun. Yeah, that was the first of its kind. Really, that was the first
Yeah.
time we put that on. So, well, I didn't really do anything. That was all Kirk and Mike and Beth and all them guys.
Right.
I just helped, work some booths in the door, make sure stuff kind of flowed correctly day of. Yeah, but that was all them. That was a lot of fun. I went up in one of the airplanes. Um, I was gonna polish an airplane, but like I didn't really. I haven't done that officially yet, so I was like, I'm not gonna just do this for fun and take a picture for 2 seconds just for that.
Yeah.
I'm not gonna do that. So Tayton was polishing some planes. I got to learn about the McLaren stuff. because that's new for Carlos. I've never
Hmm.
played with any of that stuff. Yeah, the whole aspect of the museum was just so cool because like normally when you go to a museum, it's like, oh, don't touch, don't look,
Yeah.
don't look too intensely because you'll see all the super glue. But like all these things were like real airplanes that you could fly on a regular basis. Just
Right.
they only had like the 4 or 5 while we were there. Um, able to be rented, but like all of them work, and they have like when the last time it was flown, and like all the pieces of it you can see are just like in a box. Like
Oh wow.
if you look close enough, you can see like the real landing gear that's not like fake, and like the parachutes that they got attached to it before that they like use it, or it's like box of bolts for left landing gear. You've seen a lot of, especially in some of the bigger airplanes that they have like kind of taken apart
Right.
and like propped up. You could see all the like part boxes because like full of oil and like they were all dripping oil. I thought that was kind of cool too. Like they had like big catch basins under every motor,
Oh, okay.
and I was like, these are not fake at all. Like you can't fake any of that. You know what I
Right.
mean? Like
Yeah.
oil
Yeah.
dripping out of weird facets just because they've been
Yeah.
around since Vietnam and World War II. Like that was
There's some guy that goes there in the morning. His job is to go there before they open up and like pour a quart of oil in the drip basin and like
yeah,
squeeze them around the
right. Because they
make
got
it
an
look
oil
real.
dumper, right?
Yeah.
Yeah, but it was just cool because that was the first time I'd ever really been like around airplanes, like and had hands-on experience with them like that. So that was cool because it's might be something I want to do in the future, and look into the ADA and figure out what the first
Yeah.
couple steps are to do that. So that was a really good introduction for that for me because I don't know what I want to do.
Yeah.
I just
Do
want
you
to go
have
touch
have you ever
scales.
had anybody approach you about doing planes, or is it something that, would just be on your radar on
It would kind of
on
just
the
be on
team?
my radar because Toledo has a couple small airplanes. I
Okay.
just don't really know people that have them. The Detroit airport is really close to me, but that's like, I don't really know how I would go just market myself as a detailer off the street. You know what I mean? I would want
Right.
to,
Yeah.
I couldn't, I'm just not in the right, like, I don't really know exactly how to do that or where I would start with that. But no, I've never been approached by anybody, but that would be something I would want to do in the future. That'd be a lot of traveling, obviously.
Yeah.
But that would be definitely something I would like to do for sure. I don't know if like on a smaller, like take care of people's little Cessnas and little prop planes and, little lake boats and stuff like that, little pontoons, or if I want to get into like bigger aircraft. I'm not really sure yet.
Right, right. I know, a great guy, his name's Josh. I could get you introduced to him. I'm pretty sure he
Hernandez?
could.
I think I've met him.
I just had him on a couple of weeks back. We were talking about it. It was a good talk because him and I have always been like, trying to arrange something, and then like his schedule's busy, my schedule's busy. So like we finally like linked up, and then we were like 20 minutes in to the conversation on Friday night, and then his phone died.
Oh
And
no.
so like I was like, dude, we can just postpone it. He's like, no, no, no. He's like, I want to do it. He's like, tomorrow. He's like, let's do it tomorrow, like middle of the day. What you just let me know. Like I'll have my
Yeah.
phone charged. I'll be at home and everything. So we did like 20 minutes on Friday night, and then we did like the other hour and something on Saturday, and had to like piece them together to make the episode.
Yeah.
So
So you guys got outfit changes for his podcast?
yeah. If you watch the video on YouTube, like it's totally different. Like he's in a different place. He's wearing different clothes. I'm wearing different clothes. It's a lot brighter out because I did it during the day, so it's a lot
Yeah.
brighter in the room.
Different
And
times of day. Yeah.
yeah. So,
Yeah, he was also a big part of Shine Time as well,
yeah,
helping coordinate the hangars and to get in and figure out what they wanted to do and what planes were going to be moving and all that stuff because he's kind of always there, I believe, from what I
yeah,
talked to him about, and that's a big part of what he does is that flight museum. So that was
right.
awesome to kind of see a part of his world.
Yeah. No, that's cool. I'm glad it seemed like a good turnout, a decent turnout. I mean, I didn't really see a bunch on social media, so I don't know if I was just missing people's posts and whatnot. I didn't see a lot about it. Um, but I will say that I've I'm not like as on Facebook as much as I used to be anymore.
Mhm.
I don't I don't know. I just kind of over it.
Mhm.
I
I need to
just
hire a social media person because it's like all I really do is post before and after pictures and make
yeah.
cute captions. I guess that's
Yeah.
enough, but like I don't have film people or like all these crazy cool point of view videos like some people have. Maybe one
Yeah.
day, but
You
for right
well,
now,
dude, I don't know. So like I'm gonna speak my experience with it is it wasn't worth it. I had a
you
great
know,
videographer. He was a he was the son of one of the girls that I went to high school with, and he was in high school at the time, and he was doing um like big 4x4 trucks. Like he was shooting a lot of rollers and like, 4x4s and stuff. And it was it was like when I got the first Lamborghini, and I was like, oh man, I want to make a video. It's my first supercar. And he was dying to do something different. So like came out and I kind of showed him a couple of other videos that, detail guys had done. So he kind of had an idea of like what I was thinking. And
where you
he was
wanted to
like,
go with it.
yeah,
Yeah.
yeah, and he's like, "Dude, got it." He's like, so he came over, he shot like before shots, like the swirl marks and the defects and all that stuff, and
Mhm.
and then he filmed me washing it. He filmed me, polishing it. He'd be like, "Oh, polish over here, do this," like he would direct the shots, and it was funny because um we didn't really have the time for him to do all that stuff and then just stick around while I, spent a whole day polishing a car to ceramic coat it and all that stuff.
Mhm.
So we actually faked me coating the car. Like I had an empty bottle that I put water in, and it was funny, like I actually figured out, so like I would drip the water onto the pad, but when you try to put water on a surface, it doesn't look like ceramic coating.
Right.
And at the time I was using IGL, and it was funny. So their pre-coat, I would spray it on an applicator and wipe it, and because it has alcohol in it, it would flash.
Yeah.
It,
Mhm.
it would give the look of
Or
ceramic
just wipe
coating.
it badly so it looks all yeah.
Yeah, yeah, exactly. So we would do that. He would shoot it real quick so it looked like I was putting ceramic coating on, and then I would like
Mhm.
wipe it off. And
Yeah.
then he'd leave, and then I'd do my thing, and then he'd come back like, the next day or 2 days later, and then he would shoot all the after shots. And then he would go and like piece it together and put it to music and
Mhm.
everything. And but I mean they were good. They were great videos, honestly, but like any I never got any like business from them. I never
Yeah.
saw, somebody like saw it on YouTube and was like, "Oh, dude, that was a killer video. I want my car done like that." Like
Yeah.
I can go do like what you said, right? Like shoot a before, shoot an after, and put it on Facebook, and somebody be like, "Hey, how much does that cost?" So
Yeah.
like
And
the
we live in the day and age where it's like there's so many filters. Like like
yeah.
like me and you were just talking about I don't even have a good camera. Like I don't want like you said you have to fake it. I
Mhm.
don't want a good ass camera that makes it look like something that you're not going to see when you get your car.
Right.
Like there are some things I post that I'm like, ooh, should I post that? Like there's no
I
filter,
know.
like it's kind of raw, like but it's clean.
Yeah.
Sometimes detailing, and that's why I'm really honest in my captions. Sometimes detailing will show damage because it's been so dirty for so
Yep.
long. Not everybody wants dressing, so it's like that's as good as that's gonna look. I'm
Yeah.
not gonna fake it, but that's a detailed car. It's a 2002 with 300,000 miles, but I'm not
Yeah.
gonna make it look any better, and I don't want somebody to digitally touch it up because what's that gonna do? They're gonna be like, "Oh, look what you did to that car." That's not something I did to that car.
Right, right. And it's
That's
funny because I've seen detailers like filter the fuck out of their pictures and videos, and you're like, bro, there's no way you made the car look. I mean, it looks like chrome paint. Like, sorry, you're not that good of a detailer, right? Like, there's
well, like,
just
not
no
even that,
way.
but it's like that's a 2014. Like it doesn't have
Yeah.
that much chrome. Like
Yeah.
you polished it in Photoshop and not even in real
Yeah.
life. And like you said, they want to come. Like I very much respect the social media stuff. That's just not something I'm trying to do at the moment. But like you
Yeah.
said, it's a whole lot because
Oh yeah.
I had a girlfriend of mine that I went to high school or grade school and high school with. She came and did some headshots, and she was like, "All right,
Okay.
well, I'll do some of the getting the car done." And I was like, "All right, well, I can only really wash one wheel because that'll take me an hour." You know what I mean? Because I was doing a Jeep, and I was like, "All right,
Right.
well, like let me just wash one door because I don't want you to sit here while I." You know what I mean? Because like
Yeah.
that's expensive hourly
Oh,
videography.
yeah.
And then I
Yeah,
gotta
for
pay for
sure.
editing time. And a lot of times, like they don't want to use the videos you already have. And I'm like, hey, I got a GoPro, and like these phones shoot in 17K. You know what I
Yeah.
mean? Like, why can't I send you a terabyte of film from the last 4 years? And I get it, it's not what they want to do, but like I wish I could find like an editor versus like somebody that wants to come shoot all this new video and all these filters. Like, no, use this
Yeah.
stuff that,
Right, because a lot of
you
times
know,
they have their vision, so they need to shoot it
yeah,
their way so that they
right.
know how to edit it. Yeah, it's
Yes.
tough. It's tough,
Yeah,
dude.
and that I get. I get that. They have to stop it, you know what I mean, to get
Yeah,
transitions. And I'm like, I could send edited content, but it's just like, ugh, at the end of the day, it's like, let me just do it on Instagram, make a quick
yeah.
little video.
I'll tell you what, man, like, when I did that episode with Walt and we talked about ChatGPT, um,
Hmm.
I really started using ChatGPT for a lot of my business stuff, and part of that was, I asked ChatGPT to help me with social media content. And so, like, one of the suggestions it gave me was on Wednesdays to post a midweek showcase video on Instagram, like a reel or whatever. So what I started doing was, and it told me, it's like, do a shot of you foaming the car, shot of you washing the car, da 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 da. And then it was like, put it together and then do voiceover. So what I started doing was I started doing time lapse videos of me doing the different working stages, right? So like washing it, polishing it, ceramic coating it, like scrubbing seats, like coating wheels, coating windshields, whatever I'm doing to the car or whatever. And then what I do is at the end, when the car is all done, then I set up my Osmo camera with my wireless mic and I stand next to the car and I introduce myself, my detail shop, where my city, and then I talk about the car. This is what we did, or this is what I did. Started with a foaming, gentle foaming wash, went into polish, went into this, and then what I do is I have a like a almost like a movie editing software so I can detach the audio. So when I go through and I get to that point where I'm talking about washing it, I can cut the video of me talking about washing out and put the actual time lapse video in.
Yeah.
And then I create like this little minute long video that's just me talking about what I did to the car and it shows time lapse of me doing it. And then I post those like every Wednesday
And
on my
that's what I need
social
to get
media.
better at. I need to get the videos off the phone. There's like 87
Yeah.
million photos in
Yeah.
here.
Yeah, yeah. That's the thing, man. It is work, like, so usually what I do is, and I got busy this week and didn't have time to do one, so I slipped this week. But
Uh-oh.
usually what I'll do is, like, so whatever car I did last week, I'll usually spend the weekend or whatever putting that video together so that it would go out this week, and then whatever car I do this week, I'll spend the weekend and I'll put it out next week, and then next week,
Mhm.
and I try to stay like ahead. And honestly, dude, like, it doesn't even, to me, it doesn't even have to be like a full on correction coding job. Like, I've done them where it's like, hey, it was a maintenance wash and an interior cleaning.
I do
You know?
mainly into everybody knows I'm like the interior man. I do
Yeah.
fucking interiors all day, every day. Like,
Yeah. I've done that. Like, I just show me scrubbing seats and wiping down
mhm.
a dashboard and I just put that into it. I've done one. I did one where it was just a wash and a sealant. So I, you know, sh- um videoed myself foaming it and washing it and then going back over it with a wet application sealant and then showing like the beads and it doesn't have to be anything. It doesn't always have to be corrections and codings. It's
Right.
just show what's in the shop, show what you're working on. And I also like those things too, because then it's when I post it, it's like, oh, he does do interiors, or oh, he does just do a wash and wax, or I did one 2 weeks ago. It was an overspray removal. The guy ran over a spray paint
Spray
can and he
paint
just
can.
like
Yep, classic.
covered the
Of
whole front
course.
of his car. So it
Mhm.
was just, a couple of time lapse videos of me, like, scrubbing the car down and then
Mhm.
showing me washing it and then putting
Yeah.
a wax on it or whatever.
And like
Uh,
you said, that kid you hired, he wanted to just come do the I mean, not the kid, the person you hired wanted to come do
yeah,
the Lamborghini, and it's like, that's cool and all, but, like,
yeah.
do you have Lamborghinis
Well, well,
17 is that your main client is Lamborghinis every single day?
no,
Like
no, no, no. But
no, but
I
I'm
want
saying,
I
like,
yeah,
you
I
almost
wanted
bracket
him.
yourself
Yeah.
incorrectly by making the wrong content.
Right, right, and that
You
was
know
the
what I
thing,
mean?
like, and again, that was man, I was, like, maybe 2 years in, so I was still fresh with it, from
Mhm.
leaving the car wash,
Yeah.
and so, like, to me, that was like, "Ha, ha, ha, ha," like, I'm gonna show a video of me doing a Lamborghini, and
Yeah.
then I had him come and do the Ferrari, and then the slant nose Porsche, and then, like, anytime I had a really cool car, I would have him come and do that, and that's exactly like you're saying, that's where I learned, like, it was the wrong content because I would have people call me and be like, "Well, I don't have any of those fancy cars like I see some of your
Yep.
videos. I just
Yep.
have a,
Mhm.
Honda
I have a
Accord,"
Toyota or a Santa
Yeah,
Fe or something. Yeah, yep.
yeah. So
Yep.
that's why, I talk about it a lot on the podcast, and I tell people, like, I don't really care to do supercars honestly anymore. Like, I want that bread and butter car because the more I do the bread and butter car, people
Mhm.
see that, "Oh, hey, he works on a car like mine, and
Yeah.
it came out really nice."
And another really big thing to that I don't think anybody really talks about in the detailing world, I mean, I know it's true for me, it probably is true for you. I don't care if you have a Lamborghini or a Cadillac Escalade. I charge by the size.
Mhm.
It doesn't matter if it's an Aventador or an Aveo. Like, I charge by how big it is and how dirty it is. So, like,
Yeah,
you know what I mean? People, like you said, people, oh, I don't have one of those fancy cars. Like, I don't either. I just had
yeah.
the luxury of cleaning it once or twice. I don't have airplanes. I just went and rode in one. Like,
Right, right.
you know what
Yeah.
I mean? Like, a lot of us, unless we've been doing it a while, or you know what I mean? Like, I don't know what
Listen,
kind of cars
th
some people have, but
to
I don't
me to
have a
me, the only
Lamborghini.
thing that they all have in common that I care for is the color of the the
Yeah,
paper that they
they
give
all
me
get dirty.
afterwards, right?
They're all gonna keep getting dirty. Yeah, because people call me and they're like, "Yeah, I have an Audi AX3 27 48 3i," and I'm like, "Ma'am, what is that? Is that a
Yeah.
SUV? Is it have 5 rows? Is that
Exactly.
a hatchback?" Like,
Exactly. Yeah.
like, "What is that? What kind of
I
car
don't
is
care, I
that?"
just wanna know the size. I wanna know what I'm getting into,
Right, how
like
bad does it smell? What stains are in it? Like,
Yeah,
it could be the president's, like, Lamborghini. I just need to know if it's a SUV or not, like,
right,
and I can give
right.
you an accurate
I need to
price.
know that I need to make sure I'm charging accordingly, and I'm not charging you
Right,
for a car when it's an Escalade Max or a
right,
limo or something like that. Yeah.
right. Because I don't speak BMW or
Yeah.
Audi or any I'm like, "What? It's a what? Can you send me a picture?" I'm Googling it while I'm on the phone with them on my other phone, like, "Oh, it's an SUV, got it."
Yeah, yeah,
Do you
yeah.
have the big one or the little one? Because they don't know, like
Yeah, and nowadays they're all like even the ones that used to be little are like big now. It's like ridiculous, I mean, I remember when the BMW X5 was like a smaller SUV, and now it's like the size of an Expedition almost. I'm like,
Okay,
when
see,
did
you speak BMW then. I'm
Yeah,
like, I don't
yeah,
even know what
yeah.
that
I mean,
is.
unfortunately, like 30 plus years in the industry,
Yeah,
I do know, like, for the most part, what,
yeah,
if somebody tells me a car and a make and a model, I typically know exactly what it is and how big it is.
gotcha. I only
That I
speak Jeep
Yeah, Jeep.
because I worked there for 5.5 years, and I'm in Toledo, where they're from, so I speak Jeep
Oh, okay.
fluently, but I don't speak anything else.
Gotcha.
I know Ford, and Ford's nostalgia because my parents were Ford people, but, like, I don't really
Okay.
know BMW or Audi like that. People are like, "Oh, yeah, the RX 72." I'm like, "Cool, is that a scooter?" I don't know what that is, like
Yeah, it's definitely crazy. Yeah, because I
Mhm.
because I'll do the same thing. I'm like, well, what type of vehicle do you have, right? And I'm waiting for them to say like, oh, it's a car or it's an SUV, But you're right, they just want to be like, oh, hang on, let me tell you what it is, and it's like like,
Let me go get
okay,
this
cool,
sticker.
it's
I'm
an
like
SUV. Okay, cool, it's a sedan, like
right.
yeah, yeah, and it's almost kind of like they feel offended because you're like, it's an SUV. Oh, it's not an SUV. It's a
Right, I'm like, "I
yeah,
didn't mean that way, fine, it's
yeah,
a bus, it's a
yeah,
bird, it's a plane. What is it? Like, I don't.
Yeah. Yeah, I always too, because, I mean, even some of um the quote unquote fancier cars don't always have leather. I mean, like Michelle's Audi does have cloth inserts on the seats. So like I'm always like, does it have cloth or leather seats? Because you never know. And it's like,
Yeah,
well, it has leather seats. And I'm like, okay,
yeah,
like
yeah.
this podcast is sponsored by Detailed Image. What sets Detailed Image apart? Their outstanding customer service and fast shipping on 3,000 detailing products from almost 100 brands, plus their extensive product descriptions, detailing blog, and how to guides make it easy to choose the right products for any job. And here's the best part: listeners of the Detail Solutions podcast get an exclusive 15% off with the promo code DSP15. That's DSP15 for 15% off your order. Another option for the pros listening is their incredible wholesale program that saves you on average of 15 to 30% off. In 2024, wholesalers saved on average of $699. There are no fees, no commitments, and no subscriptions, just huge savings. Join today at detailedimage.com/wholesale/DSP, and you'll get a bonus $20 credit when you make your first purchase. Again, for the wholesalers, that's detailedimage.com/wholesale/DSP and get an extra $20 credit. Yeah.
Or they're
Yeah.
like, I need a full shampoo, and then you pull up with leather, and it's like, what would
Yeah.
you like me to hot water shampoo? I'm
Yeah.
not
Yeah.
hot water
Exactly.
shampooing your leather. I would
Yeah.
know. Like, we're not doing that. Like,
Yeah.
let's move your and then they got floor mats that cover everything with the edges, and I'm like, I'm not shampooing anything, ma'am. Like, your floors are clean. I'm gonna clean your floor mats, but like
Yeah.
we're not power washing anything. So, or we're not shampooing anything. So we're not gonna
Yeah.
charge you for
I
shampooing.
Yeah, I got to the point now with well, not now, like a few years back or whatever. I started because of that. Or you just get people that aren't pigs, right? And can actually keep their car pretty clean. And
Mhm.
so now I typically ask them like, well, does it have any stains or spills that you would want hot water extraction? Because if not, and especially here in Florida where it's raining every day, like last thing I want to do is load your car up with water and then it's going to rain and you're going to, like you don't have time for it to really dry out. So
Right. Well,
let's
and
do
people
let's
people
do
are
a
in a hurry too.
surface
They want to
clean.
they want to pick their car up right away. They don't want to let
Right.
you dry it out overnight the way that we should. They want to pick it up right away.
Exactly.
So they're not
Yeah.
going to follow the drying protocols we have. So I
Right.
100%
Right.
feel you.
So I like to do
People
it.
say
So
shampoo.
I like to do like a surface cleaning where I'll just, excuse me, spray it down with an enzyme, agitate it, and then dry vac it, and then be done with
Yeah.
it.
But like
Yeah.
for a real shampoo, it'll get moderately wet, and you should fan it and ozone it and clean it and dry it the right way, as you already know.
Right.
But people are like, oh yeah, I'll pick it up right away, and I'm like,
Yeah.
oh, not with those stains. Like, you got old milk in here. What's quick about that? I'm not going to be
Yeah.
quick about that.
Yeah. Exactly.
Because I get a lot of
Exactly.
mom vans and soccer mom vans and people that have kids under 3, with
Ugh.
formula or real human milk, and none of that smells good once you heat it up again. None
No.
of it.
No,
None of
for
it.
sure. That is definitely the bio bombs go to when you get stuff like that. And you're like,
Yeah,
go ahead and take care of that with some bio bombs and some chlorine dioxide, and
yeah. Mhm.
we're gonna add on to that total.
Mhm. Yep, yep. That I got upgraded from a regular to a shampoo. So
Yeah, yeah. So how did you get into this?
to detailing,
Yeah,
it
yeah.
is a fun story.
Okay.
So do you know what Turo is?
Who?
You ever heard of Turo? Like, rented a car on your phone?
Oh,
Turo?
Turo. Yeah, 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 yeah,
Toro?
yeah,
I don't
yeah,
know. I'm from Ohio.
yeah.
Maybe I have a country accent. Turo.
No, no, no. My headphones are fucking up on me, so
Well,
I can
everybody
only
says it
hear it.
different too. So
Yeah,
Toro,
yeah,
however you say it.
yeah, yeah.
I got into Turo and with my old business partner, and like, long story short, after I bought my house like 4 years ago, I wanted passive income. Like, I was sick of
Okay,
working hard all the time. So I was like, maybe I can like list my car on Turo. So I met up with somebody that had like 6 cars hosted at the time. And then I hosted one of my cars with him, and then I bought a second car and hosted that with him. And we grew our fleet from like 7 to like 25 in like a
Holy
year.
cow.
We were doing really, yeah, we had a little tiny car lot next to the Detroit airport, and we were cranking. So when we got to like car, I think like 13, I was like, damn, this is crazy. Like, let's like, who cleans these cars for you? And he's like, I do. And I was like, that seems like a lot to do yourself. And he was like, I'm running out of options. I need help with this. So I was like, well, the car that I had just bought was brand new, and I actually quit smoking cigarettes to keep it looking brand new. So let me show you how clean this car is, and like maybe I can help you.
Right.
So like my dad was always a car guy, my parents were always car guys, so like I never had a dirty car. Even as a smoker, I never had a dirty car. Like we weren't allowed, and like I never had a dirty car. I was always that guy that like even if I went to the drive-through, I was drying off my door jambs and all that stuff. Like I have
Right.
kind of always done that, I guess. And then he was like, "Hey, well, like maybe you should look into detailing, and you can help me start to do this because like I don't really have time to learn how to detail." So I was like, all right, well, I can learn about detailing. And he's like, well, maybe there's a school for it. And I was like, yeah, probably not. Like, I don't know about any of this. So then I found out what Detail King was, and I went to Detail King. And then from Detail King, they were like, cha-ching, like they unlocked the key. Honestly, it was Frank who taught me
Okay.
how to do headlights. He was like, you need to go to MTE because like you should do more than just rental cars. And I was like,
Yeah.
I don't know what MTE is. He's like, go to Orlando and meet everybody.
Yeah.
So I went to my first MTE 3 years ago with my old business partner, and we kind of just like didn't really know what to do. So he had a couple conference calls with one of his other businesses, and I decided to volunteer at the IDA booth.
Okay.
And that ruined my life basically because I met Rod that day. I met Jackie Orlando that day. I met the girl with the
Shoot,
IPA.
definitely ruined your life.
Yeah, I met so many people that day because they were like, "Who are you?" Because nails painted, looking around. I was like,
Yeah.
I have rental cars. What's up,
Yeah.
guys? New to this industry, and they're like, "Well, you can detail all this stuff." And okay, you did Detail King. Well, do you know about this and this and this? And I was like, "No, teach me. No, teach me. Like, when's the class? Like, whose shop is it at? I will be there." So,
Right.
right before I quit Jeep, I was just like taking days off and like, hey, I'm gonna go to Indiana and learn how to do this motorcycle. I'm gonna go to Florida and learn how to sand this boat. I'm gonna go up to Detroit and take this class at the SEMA garage. And I didn't know anybody at any of this stuff, and I just kind of kept showing up. And people started to be like, "Oh wow, you're all over here. Like, who are you?" And I was like, "I'm not really anybody. Like, I'm kind of just starting." And they were like, "Well, you kind of have a knack for this, so like you should do this and this." And then one day I was online and I seen Detailers of the Roundtable were hosting their first training at Nathan Warren's shop.
Hmm.
And I kind of thought it was a scam. I was like, what's Detailers of the Roundtable? So I messaged like the thing, like the event, and somebody replied instantly. And I was like, okay, this is obviously like a robot. So I was kind of rude to it at first.
Yeah. Yeah.
Because like, you know what I mean? Like how many robots are we all talking to all the time? Like
Right.
you
Right.
never fucking know. So I was like, well, is this real? Like I appreciate the invitation, but like I don't know. Like I'm trying not to get scammed because like I'm just learning. And he was like, no, like call me. My name is Mike. And I was like, oh, this is a whole real person the whole time. Um so that's when I got hooked up with my grinds.
Sorry
And
for being an asshole.
yep, I was
Think
like,
you
oh my
were a
bad. I
bot. Yeah.
thought this was like a chat bot. So then I joined Details of the Roundtable, and it was kind of all history from there. And I quit Jeep, and I was renting space in a body shop for about a year and a half, and I was mobile for 2 years before that. And now I've been in my own standalone brick and mortar since for not like
Recently,
9 months now.
yeah.
Jeez,
Yeah.
crazy to think about.
Yeah. So what happened with the Turo thing? Did you like just drop that, or are you done with that, or?
So I don't personally rent my vehicles out anymore to the
Okay.
Turo business. So like when you get your car detailed by me, that's how I'm able to like do pickup and drop off. So now my cars kind of become like my own little private fleet. So
Gotcha.
also, like if I'm gonna do a ceramic coating, that's gonna take like 2.5, 3 days for polish, dry time, cure time, depending on how bad it is. So
Right.
you're gonna drive my truck and do free advertising.
Okay. Smart.
Yep. So I don't personally do the Turo anymore, but my friend Marie now took over most of that fleet. So like I still have people that do it. I still help her if she needs it. And anytime anybody needs a rental car, I have people in pretty much any city I can find real quick for a car. So
Oh man, that's cool. Yeah,
yeah.
I had a client um that he had like 3 McLarens,
Ooh.
and yeah, and he was like he came to me one day. He was a cool dude, man. Like I still to this day don't know what he did. Especially to have 3 McLarens. Um because um he was very like free spirit, almost hippie-ish. Like his um on one of the so he had a McLaren 720. He had like this crazy um like prism wrap on it. So like it, would change all kinds of different colors, be real
Mhm.
reflective and everything. But he had like Tibetan kind of like monastery, like monkish like symbols and writings and everything on it. And he actually told me like he spent like, I don't know, 2 years in a monastery in Tibet,
Wow.
like he did like he was like full on monk, like all this stuff or whatever. And then like one day just gave it up, came back here and like, you know, he was like, I don't know, like he had money for cars, but it didn't seem like he ever did anything. Like like I don't know, like I never got into it, never. But
Yeah.
he was like a really smart dude. Like whenever we would talk and he would like give me like little tidbits of advice and this and that, and he was like just a really like kind of cool dude. But it was funny. I remember one time he came to me and he's like, yeah, dude. He's like, I'm putting my McLarens on Turo. He's like, I could make a killing off of these things or whatever.
Yeah.
And I'm like, bro, I don't know. And I don't know if he ever did it or well, I know he did it. I don't know if he ever really made any money. He just like stopped coming to me,
Mhm.
um, stopped calling. I think he told me he had a place like out in Denver or something like that, I think. So I don't know if he just went there or I don't know. Like he was like kind of renting here. Like that was his other thing. Like he only stayed in a place for like so long and then he moved out, moved on, went away. So so yeah, and then I had another client who was gonna do that too. He like went out and bought a Porsche Taycan. He's like he was like one of those like beefy gym bros, and he's like,
Mhm.
"Yeah, bro." He's like, "We're gonna fucking rent this bitch out." He's like, like all
Yeah.
this stuff, and then
Yeah.
like
People want like these high end cars, and like people when they go on vacation, like you're getting expensive stuff, but you're also buying like the cheapest meal at Disney because you're already there.
yeah,
Like, you know what I
yeah,
mean? So when people already have their hotel booked and their trip booked and they go like they're gonna get like the most expensive car, but for the cheapest. So a lot of people cheap out on the insurance.
yeah, yeah.
And like when you have, we didn't have any like supercars on the app, but there's different like deposit brackets for that.
Okay.
So it is kind of safe, but like there were a couple cars that got crashed. And depending on the
Oof.
market, like where it is, you can, insurance might help you, but you also might lose your ass on a couple cars. So
Yeah,
like it really depends on how it's structured, how you do it. If you're a good host, there's like different brackets if you're a
yeah.
good host or not, depending on like if you have good reviews because it's very peer-to-peer review based. So like if you get caught smoking in people's cars, you can give somebody like 2 stars, and if they get like 2 stars twice, they're banned from renting.
Oh, wow.
Like if I review somebody 3 stars or under, they can't like my cars won't search for them.
Okay.
So like if I ever give you less than 3 stars, you'll never ever find my cars in Toledo again, just
Oh,
because
wow.
that's how the app works. It's like
Yeah, yeah.
that's I swiped left on you basically.
Yeah, gotcha.
So, so yeah. So I mean, it
Yeah.
is it is cool. It can be fun, but yeah, don't buy no Porsche. Buy a Kia Sorento and a couple
Yeah, that's I
Corollas.
like,
Like, Those
I was
do
looking
great
into it, and it's like, yeah, like, you could buy a cheap car and turn around and rent it, like, super cheap, but you'll rent it every day, like,
because that's
the guys.
affordable. And if you have live in a decent city where people's travel habits, you can meet a couple travel nurses. Their per diems are four, five, $600 some depending. I don't want to get yelled at
Yeah,
for that saying that, but like travel, I know a lot of traveling nurses. My neighbors are traveling nurses. They rent that house all the time. There's a lot of people that have cool jobs that, truckers, they just drive their truck. They don't
yeah,
drive a vehicle, so maybe if you're a Chicago to whatever, there was a lady that was a regular truck driver. Whenever she was like off for 3 or 4 days, you can't drive the semi and go kick it or go get your hair done. So she'd rent a
yeah,
little
yeah.
car, and she had our Mini Cooper for months at a time sometimes because
Oh,
like
wow.
her job was just paying for it. You know what I mean? And that's just what people's per diem includes, or under travel it'll include rental car. So if you can
Yeah,
find a car under $60 a day, not only are you saving your company money, but they might give that back to you in a different way. Or
that's cool, yeah.
if it's your company, you're saving yourself money, and then you can write stuff off in different ways because your budgets can then go down for your trip. So there's all kinds of fun ways. Yeah, you can rent anything these days.
Yeah, yeah, it's nuts, man, honestly, it's crazy.
Hmm.
So, what do you enjoy detailing more now than doing that?
Yeah, detailing is pretty much the most fun I've ever had. I haven't felt like I've worked since I quit Jeep, which is crazy.
That's awesome.
Like, I'm in my family group chats, like I send them pictures and I'm like, this is what I get to do all day. Like hanging out in a marina, like listening to music on full blast in my own shop, and I used to have to ask other adults to use the bathroom for my whole
Yeah,
life.
yeah.
Like, because the
That's sweet,
factory line, it doesn't stop. Like,
yeah,
it's just, I'm not complaining, but like I've worked for so many other people for so long, and finally it's just like, yeah.
yeah.
Now I can
Nice.
I can give a level of customer service that I was told no, I couldn't give before. You know what I mean? When you work for a certain management system, or certain things like that. Like I ran gas stations and I was a dental assistant and all kinds of stuff. So it's like
Yeah.
you can only really be as nice as your boss.
Right, right, right.
And I've had some dicks as some bosses. So it's like I've seen when the customer service ball has been dropped, and it's like I don't want that to be a part of my business at all. So now that I'm in control of like every little aspect, it's like I can fine tune it and make sure that everyone's getting the best of what I can give at every time.
Yeah.
So detailing is pretty much, yeah. And I like boats more than anything. I thought I
Really?
liked motorcycles, but like boats come with their own trailers. You ain't got to jack them up. So
Yeah. So do you do a lot of boats?
I'm getting into it, yeah.
Really?
I realistically like was more comfortable like selling boats as a service
Okay.
about 7 months ago, when I really like was comfortable with my rotary skills and my sanding skills and my ability to pitch, 4, 5, 6 figure detail jobs that are bigger. So, now that I've added that to my official price list, I've done like 14 in the last like 3 months or
Oh,
so.
nice.
So
Yeah.
yeah,
Because I
and
was
jet
talking
skis
to
and pontoons.
Yeah, because I was talking to Mike on the last episode, and he said that I guess, like, you guys have worked together kind of
Mhm.
frequently lately,
Yeah, we've
and
been collaborating a whole bunch. Yeah, because he's only like an hour and a half away from me.
oh, okay.
So,
That's
yep.
not bad.
And so is Ryan Griggs. Actually, he's only like an hour and a half away from me too.
Oh, okay. Yeah,
Yep.
that's not
And
bad.
then they're like an hour and a half away from each other. So depending on where I'm going up in
Okay, so you got,
Michigan,
like, a nice little triangle.
I got it right. We're like a V. Yep.
Yeah. Yeah.
Yep.
Oh, that's cool, man. Yeah, those are both great guys. I had never really talked to Mike before, other than interviewing him for the paint correction competition until last week, and man, we had such an amazing conversation last week. It was great, and it honestly was one of those, like, that episode, for everybody who listened to it, could have been a lot longer, but it was 10 o'clock, and I get up at like 6:30 on Saturdays to go and wash cars in the morning. I do 2
Mhm.
cars in the morning so I can have, come be back home by the time Michelle and Haley are up and all that stuff. We could do family things. Um, so I kinda had to cut it. Like, I was like, "Dude, I gotta this has been too much fun. Like, I gotta go to bed," you know?
Yeah. He's a great guy, and he has a lot of knowledge to share too. Yeah.
Yeah. Yeah. And he opened up, man. He got real about his drinking and his addiction and everything. So like we had a nice conversation. It was awesome. So but that's kind of the cool thing about, sometimes not ever really talking to somebody is you get to learn more about them. And I mean, I know you and I have talked a little bit here and there and met at MTE and SEMA or
Mhm.
whatever, but we've never really had time to talk. So that's what's makes this one so much fun, is to get to
Yeah.
know you a little bit more
Mhm.
and all that fun stuff. So yeah, it's great, man. Let's you know this damn podcast, man. I dread it until I'm doing it, and then I
Until it
have
happens and you're like, "This is awesome." Yeah.
yeah, I have an absolute blast talking to people and doing it, but it's like all week I'm just like, "Fuck, man,
Mhm.
I really
Yeah.
don't wanna do this anymore, like, I'm gonna give it up," you know? My
Yeah.
friend Stats, he's always like, "Shut up, pussy. You're not gonna give it up," and I'm like, "Yes, I am. I'm
Don't
done.
quit.
I'm over it." Yeah, so but yeah, but no, that's cool, man, that you really kind of like, you know did jumped into this because of a need in another business, and then it's completely like become your thing.
Yeah, I
Like,
never thought in a million years I would quit Jeep. I mean, that people don't quit factories, you know what I
yeah.
mean? Like, people don't just start their own business with, essentially almost nothing like I did. People don't really do that. They're comfortable forever, and I don't really believe in being that.
So
And
let me ask you this. Were you doing it because most people do it this way, right? So were
yeah,
you doing it part-time to build up, or
yeah.
was it just kind of like, okay, okay,
Yeah, so before I quit Jeep, like I said, I was going to classes and I was like, "Oh my god, I need time off for this," and who
I
wants a
got
detail as soon as I get off work? And like, Jeep has this thing called like canvassing. So
okay,
like if there's like too many people on a certain line, like the bosses will get in trouble for too many people showing up. So like they'll canvass people to leave. So
okay.
like towards
Yeah,
the
like
end, I was like, "Oh, you're canvassing? Can I leave? Is it my
yeah.
turn?" Because
I volunteer, I
I got
volunteer.
people to call, I got cars to detail. Like y'all know
Yeah.
I'm busy. So like towards the last like year, it became like I very much split
Wanted
off, and I
to
was like, I'm
yeah,
not doing nothing extra for you guys, like because I kind of knew that it was kind of my end. And Jeep went through a big giant sale. Jeep is now French. A lot of people
mhm,
don't know that. Some do.
yep,
If you're in the car industry, it's now Stellantis. I'm not talking shit about them either, but they changed the way the factory operates.
okay.
It's garbage in there. It's garbage.
Yeah.
They don't care about a lot of stuff. So I worked through the strike. They said everything was going to get better, all this bullshit, and it never happened. The same assholes were in charge. There was some weird stuff that happened to me that never got dealt with inside that factory, and that was still weird. And he was still a boss and got fired and rehired. And they would
Oh,
fire and
wow.
rehire. They'd fire and rehire drunks and people that hit stuff, and the same fucking people that would OD on the line in front of everybody. I mean,
Oh,
because it's a
shit.
union, so you got to keep your job forever. So like, as
Yeah.
good as there was cool things about it, but it was like the people that literally would stand there and be like, "Yeah, I'm not doing my job today." They still got paid every single day because it's like a union, and they would find somewhere else for that fucking dumbass motherfucker to be. And
Right.
literally, the one day I just stopped showing up because the way that these grown men would talk to these 19-year-old women, and I was
Oh,
just like,
wow.
"Ain't nobody gonna do nothing about this." He's training her saying this shit, and I'm just so I was just the gay dramatic guy in there because I was actually standing up for what was right for a lot of these people. And people that have been there 10, 12 years, they don't care. They're not going to call the union. And when
Right.
you're a TPT and you call the union, that's like you're getting murdered, but you call the non-emergency line. Like they don't
Gotcha.
they're not going to show up for you the way that they show up for the full-timers. Or if they do, they're going to come ask the full-timers what happened first, and of course they're going to lie to get them on
Yeah.
their side. And it's like, "Hey, I'm trying to make sure this Jeep is built right, but okay. All right. I'm the crazy one. All right. Sorry the line's down, but these screws are missing." Oh,
Jeez.
dude, I don't even. So that was and like I said, once I started learning how to detail, there's a very standard operating procedure. And when you'd go to Jeep every day, it was like there was one, but then everybody got to tell you do C, B, D, G, H, A, F, L, J, K. There's no alphabet in there. And it's like,
Gotcha.
but how are cars driving off at the other end if there's yeah, I wanted no part in any of that after a while. So I just was like, nah, I'm okay. So like I said, I was definitely very mentally checked out. Like I'm only doing my job. I'm only doing what I'm supposed to do. Because when you care too much, no one gives a shit. Like nobody else cares that much because nobody can. There's no time allotted for you to care because you have to do the same job every 42 seconds.
Right.
So it was fun. It was good pay, but I don't want to go to work every day and do stuff backwards and be told that's the right way. No, it's not.
Right, right. Especially when you can do it your way and be your own boss, make your own
Well, and like when
schedules.
you're building a Jeep, there is no my way or your way. You put the
Well,
two
no,
screws in.
I'm saying in the
Yeah,
detail, but you doing
right.
detailing, yeah, you
Yep.
can do it. Yeah,
And
yeah.
it was so simple building Jeeps. It's like you don't know how to use a screwdriver. You're 38 and you have 3 kids. How is me little when I first started there? How is little 27-year-old me teaching you how to use a screwdriver? What? Something's wrong.
What?
Something's wrong with that whole situation. So
Wait,
like,
wait, you were 27 when you started there?
I was younger than that.
Oh, how old are you now?
33.
Oh, Jesus Christ, man. I
Why?
thought
How old do I
you
look?
I don't know, I thought you were like 21, 22 or
Oh
something.
my! Shut up! Seriously?
You look like a little kid, man.
It's the skincare routine. It's the skincare.
Dude,
Yeah, no,
I didn't I would listen, like, when you're talking about working in a factory, I'm like, "Jesus Christ, like, this kid's not even old enough to, like, work in a factory. What is he talking about?"
No, I've lived a few lives. Yeah, I was a dental assistant for 4 or 5 years. I was a factory worker. I ran a gas station, and now detailer. Yeah, yeah. I'm 33. The birthday is February 3rd. Graduated high school in 2010.
No.
Mhm.
Yeah, no. I thought you were in your 20s, man.
That's
Good for you.
hilarious. Well, it's because I put on makeup at car shows, so I look really good. Like when
Hey,
the
that's really
couple times I
easy.
met you, I probably
You're
looked perfect
you're filtering yourself is what you're
in
telling me.
real
You're
life.
not
Yeah, just with makeup.
like
And like right
we
now, my
just
beard's all scraggly. I didn't put no
yeah,
oil in it.
as long as you're not filtering the cars, it's okay. You can
No,
filter
and
yourself.
like
Yeah.
Mariah Carey, I got horrible lighting right now. So
Yeah, exactly.
yep,
Um,
33.
that's awesome, man. So, I mean, is this something you think like this is it for you, or do you have I don't want to say like aspirations of like better because I don't want it to sound like the detailing industry isn't, good enough or whatever. But I mean, like,
Right,
is
and it's
this
all what you make it. Some people don't ever raise their prices, and then they're 45 and they're mad, and it's like,
right?
well, I get it. I'd be pissed off too, but
Yeah,
no.
exactly.
If I could like have like a 10-year plan, it would
Uh,
probably be to employ my nephews and figure out if they want to have part of this.
okay,
But if not, probably like if I could speak it into existence, be an angel wax trainer in the future.
okay.
Yeah, that's probably what I want to do.
I know a guy there too. I could probably help you
I know
out.
a couple. Yeah.
I could whisper in
And
some ears for you.
I've spent so much time with Rain. It's like when I go to
Oh, I feel for you. I'm sorry. I'm sorry that you've spent that much
I
time with Ray.
know. But it's like when I go to do something, it's like I'm not even speaking as me. It's like I've trained with these guys. I like trainings because I didn't have the benefit of growing up with my dad teaching me shit in the garage. I was never
Uh-huh.
allowed in my dad's garage, and that's a whole nother story. But like when I detail a car, I'm not doing it because this is how I feel like doing it. That's literally the Angel X way, or that's the
Okay.
exact way that IGL wants it done, or this is the way that Rupes fucking trained me because that's their tool. You know what I mean? Like I'm not out here making up like this is the way I do it. Like that's just how I was taught because I've only been doing it like 4 or 5 years maybe.
So I'm gonna say something real quick. I'm really impressed with your pronunciation of the word Rupes on this podcast.
Why? How do you say it?
No, that's the correct way. At least what I was told is Rupes. It's like Ru and Pez.
Yeah,
But everybody comes on here and says Roops.
Roops.
It's a Roops
That's
machine.
what I say when I drop my polisher pad down. I'm like Roops.
Yeah. Yeah. I'm usually like, oh, did anybody see that? No. Brush that off.
Right.
No, I'm
Grab the
joking.
tornador. Right now, throw it
Just
away.
just some extra cut.
Yeah, I'm like, shit, drop it.
Yeah,
Um,
no. That not a most of the people that come on here don't say it correctly, and I feel like I've given up because it
well,
is what it is. But
they've never sat through a real Rupes training and listened to the history of it, because they have like a little 15-minute presentation, and like it's actually an Italian word. So like they
yeah,
may have a little accent to it, but
mhm,
like obviously you know this, but like a lot of people don't know. So if you don't know, Rupes actually stands for 5 different words in Italian, meaning like electrical rapid. I don't know what the word is, but Sarah
right.
Sarah knows it. And
Yeah,
it
yes.
means it's not even like a
It's like an acronym
yeah,
for
thank you. I couldn't fucking
yeah,
think of that. It's an
yeah,
acronym. It doesn't really mean anything. It's just like, you
yeah.
know, like
Yeah,
Acme or something here.
it's,
So
I learned it years ago when it was only Chip, who is no longer he's retired, and Todd Helm. Those are that was
okay,
Rupes North America.
gotcha.
Um, and everything shipped from Italy to Chip in New York. This
Yep.
was even before Colorado,
Okay,
you
gotcha.
know,
Yep.
was around or whatever. And yeah, I remember when Todd came to the car wash to talk to us about it. He was like, "It's Rupes. Everybody says Rupes or Rupees or this or that." He's like, "It's Rupe. It's
Rupees. There's no
Ru.
I in it.
It's Ru and Pez. Rupes. Just say it like that, and you'll be okay." And it's funny, like just over the years, like I've heard so many people say it so many different ways, and I'm always like, it's Rupes, right? Like, like I felt special, and then I was like, fuck it, I don't care anymore. I'm tired of correcting people. Say it however you want to say it.
Right. Well, it's like, how do you say? Do you say tortilla like a white person, or do you say tortilla, or do you say tortilla? Like I say tortilla. You know what I mean?
You
So
know,
if I'm told how to say it,
now
I'm
you're
gonna
gonna put
do
me
it
on the
that
spot
way.
because I'm gonna try to say it because I don't really say it that often, but yeah, I probably say tortilla.
Yeah,
So
because like it's how it's. I'm not trying to be funny or learn a different
right,
accent. Like if someone like, how do you pronounce your name properly? Like I'm
yeah,
not gonna call you Mackenzie if it's
yeah,
Mackenzie.
yeah.
Like
Yeah.
you told me how to say it, I'm gonna say it that way.
A
Like
a a Ron.
right, right. Unless you're Kirk Evans and your country accent spells my name wrong on a certificate.
Oh, jeez. Really?
So one time I got a certificate printed and it spelled Timothy, but it was Timouth.
Oh, Timothy.
So my nickname is now Tim
Timothy.
Mouthy. So I never lived that one down. Yeah, I think it's in the back of like one of my first roundtable certificates. I think just regular cars. We weren't even doing motorcycles then. If my first
Uh-huh.
certificate actually in the back says Tim Mouthy because I kept it, but he emailed me another one and I printed it myself. Because he was doing like I don't think he was doing talk to text, but like he called it into like a local FedEx company
Oh,
and he was
okay.
like, Mouthy, and like
Yeah.
they took it. They took him at full Tennessee.
That's awesome.
So
Yeah, it's but see, but that's like the cool shit with this industry, right? Like,
mhm,
it's fun and it's entertaining. Um, if you can just keep out of the drama that is around.
yeah,
So
yeah,
it's always and it's who you surround yourself with, right? And I like you're surrounding yourself with some really good people because pretty much everybody that I know that is involved with or part of the details of the round table for the most part are all exceptional people, except for Rod. No, I'm joking.
and Jody, they're a package. Can't say one
No,
without the
no,
other.
no. Jody's cool. Jody's
Okay,
cool.
yeah, Jody's
It's
cool.
Rod. Rod's the one I always give him shit about. But no, no, Rod. No, they're both great people.
Mhm.
But I always like to give Rod a little shit. I always whenever Rod's
You
not
have
on
to.
there, it's funny. Whenever Jody does an episode by himself and I happen to catch it, I'm like, oh sweet, we got the A+ talent
The
today.
A team.
Yeah, yeah,
Get rid of the seat filler.
yeah, exactly. Yeah, but no,
Those two have definitely helped me out in a lot of different ways. Because, like I said, the first time I ever went to MTE, I met Rod, and like I didn't really know who he was with
Uh-huh.
Road FS, or like in the industry with training. He introduced himself as like a software guy. So I was like,
Yeah.
oh, hey, like, I don't know if I'll need to use your services because I don't know what you do. And then I was like, I very quickly went out. I was like, oh, you are like super certified. You've done a lot of it. Like, and he don't really talk about all the stuff that he's like done unless
Yeah.
you know him. But like,
Yeah.
he's done a lot of stuff. So when I was like, earning certificates, I was just like, oh, there's a lot to learn from a lot of people, like a lot of different stuff to learn. Like, and then there's the car world, the boat world, and then everything has its own niche, motorcycles,
Oh
and then
yeah. Motorcycles,
supercars are completely different.
RVs and aviation and
Yep. And
yeah.
fifth
And then
wheels
there's
versus actual
concourse
RVs,
detailing and
side
then
by sides. Like
yeah.
it literally doesn't end. And like, you're going to run into a situation where you don't know how to detail something, and you either better find out quick, or you're leaving money on the table, or you're helping your competition. And
Right.
like, not that I mind about helping my competition because there's a million cars out there, but like, they're going to go to a different town maybe if you don't
Yeah.
offer that specific thing. Or a lot of customers are like, oh, well, do you do this and do you do that? And I was like, no. At first, when I started, I wasn't doing paint corrections, and I wasn't doing scratch removals because I worked in a body shop. I was like, I don't do that. They do that up there. And then I was like, oh. Then I took a Jason Rose class, and I was like, now I can sand cars.
Yeah.
Now I know you know what I mean? So like, I started slow because I didn't want to be like, oh yeah, I can do that for you, and then I don't know how to do that for you, or not have the right type of insurance coverage. And every time
Exactly.
I expanded my business, at first I was just like, yeah, I need a little tiny policy. I'm just washing cars. I don't start them or drive them. And then it's like, yeah, I start them and I drive them. And now it's like, I do boats, and now I need, $1 million policies everywhere you go. Cause when you plug
Yeah.
in, and the truck, and, I've very quickly worked on a couple boats that were easily six, seven figures, like immediately. And
Wow.
I was like, oh, you need to have at least double that in insurance coverage
Yeah.
if that's what it's worth. Because if you sink it, that's retail. You don't get to pay what they paid for it. You have to pay retail. And your
Yeah, and
insurance
that's
won't like that.
yeah, and that's the thing. Like when I talked to Josh a couple of weeks back, he was telling me about a plane detailer who didn't carry proper insurance and hit a plane with the scissor lift and put a hole in it. He's like, that's end of your life right there. I mean,
Yeah.
there's
End of your financial everything. Yeah. There's
right.
no
It's not you just you just can't get Flexi Seal and slap over that bad boy, and call it a day. I mean, that's a huge repair.
blah, 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 tongue tied. The inspection scheduling alone
Hmm.
after a repair for that it's gonna make it sit and wait for everybody to recertify it. So yeah,
Yeah.
that's all that stuff is just crazy. And that's why, like, before I jump into that, you make friends with people like Josh Hernandez and people that are in that industry, so you don't jump into it fucking blindfolded and you get the wrong kind of insurance. Or also stuff that I've learned about having the airplane insurance and then getting rid of it, and it would raise red flags if you get it and get rid of it a bunch of times, or if
Oh, gotcha.
fluctuate in and out of aviation too much, that can raise red flag. I don't know if that's true or not, but it's just open-ended conversations I've had with people
Yeah, yeah,
about the world. You know what I mean? Like,
yeah,
so it's like, you don't want to say, oh, I do certain things until you can't. Like, me and Ryan Griggs, I was borrowing his rotary for honestly like a year before I was
You
confident enough
you
to
weren't
go with.
borrowing it anymore. At that point, you had stolen it, so let's just
Yeah.
call it what
Well,
it
I
is.
did give it back to him, but he let me keep the pads. But it was like,
Okay.
I literally would go work with him, and he'd be like, no, you're not doing it. Like, you're not doing it, not wrong, but like, to do it the best way, this is how you should do it. And it was
Right.
like, until somebody does that with you, like, that's how you make your kids drive, right? You have to put them in the fucking driver's seat and be like, that's the gas pedal.
Yep.
Please don't slam it.
Yeah.
He was like, here's a rotary, here's all the different pads, 3 different brands, go have fun. And I was just like, what do you mean? And he's like, you will figure it out. And
Yeah.
then it was like,
And you will.
he's like, come back and then we'll figure it out. So me and him, a lot of people don't know that either because we didn't really post a lot about it, but me and him probably did like 6 or 7 boats together.
Okay.
And he taught me how to do rotary and some different in and out stuff, and like how to pitch a bigger job and like what the add-ons are, so that once I met Mike Ryan, who's been in the industry for, like 32 years doing boats, a full-on captain, I was terrified the first time to go work with him, because he was like, "Oh yeah, just go do the side of that 34-foot boat by yourself." And I was like, "Okay," you know what I
Yeah,
mean? Like,
yeah,
is he
yeah,
gonna doubt my skill? Is he gonna be like, "Why are you holding your elbow like that?" You know what I mean? Like,
right,
'cause once you enter into a world, you're not the best at all. There's people who are way better than you at everything, and you need to learn that that's okay, because those people can teach you, and then before you know it, you're going on vacation with them and you're polishing boats and you're not even questioning your own skills anymore.
right.
And that's a crazy place to be. From 2 years ago, I was like, "Yeah, I don't want to do gel coat, I'm scared of it." Now I'm like, "How big's your boat? I'll be there in an hour." Like,
Yeah, I'm famously for saying I don't like doing boats, but I feel like, if you're going to get comfortable with a rotary, like boat's the way to do it, because it's hard. You're not really going to burn gel coat, you know.
until
Um,
you really try, right? Yep.
yeah, I mean, I'm not saying you
Mhm.
can't, but I mean, it's a lot harder to try
We
to
know what
do.
we mean by that. Yes.
Yeah, yeah.
Yes.
Than if you were to just jump onto paint and try to run a rotary, you're gonna burn that a lot
Yeah,
faster.
because
So
there's so many different paint systems, versus gel coat is very
right,
forgiving, to
yeah.
say it. Yeah.
Well, and on boats, it's mainly big, wide, flat surfaces, so you can really get a feel for
Two big
how to hold.
panels.
Yeah, yeah.
Love
You
it.
can you get a feel on how to hold the polisher, how the
Mhm,
machine works, make sure you don't get it, bucking around, like usually
mhm.
everybody does the first time,
Da, 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 yeah.
yeah, yeah, exactly.
Yep.
I remember the first time I learned, was at the car wash, and it was funny because the car wash manager, he was telling, or the detail manager at the car wash, he was like, "All right, we're gonna learn how to do rotary." And so my buddy had this, it was an '89 Fox Body Mustang, and so he let us use that because he was going to get a free detail, right? "Quote unquote" free detail. I was going to learn how to run a rotary
Little did
on the
he know it was your
on the
first time.
right. No, no, no. He knew it was my first time.
Okay, okay.
So the first thing the detail manager does is, on those Fox Body Mustangs, it had like those rear quarter triangle windows that had rubber trim around them. So the first thing he does is he goes, "This is what you don't want to do." Cranks it to 6 and just runs the rotary across the
The
rubber
gasket.
and just burns the gasket. My friend, who was his car, just mouth dropped open and was just like, "Oh, what?" Because and he goes,
Right,
"That's what you don't want to do." And my buddy's like, "What? What the fuck?"
right.
Like,
Did
and
he
then
show
he
you how to
goes,
fix it then too?
"Yeah, no, 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 it was fucked
Oh,
up."
okay.
So yeah, it was fucked up. That was a learning experience.
Gotcha.
Um, and then we learned, how to not touch rubber or
Well,
plastic
sounds like he
trim.
already knew that. He could have showed you in a
Yeah,
less aggressive way.
no, that
Jesus.
was the funny part though, was like, I mean, and again, it was funny because it wasn't my car. And
Right.
everything fucked up. I also learned real quick why they call whip antennas. When I was going around a Toyota Tacoma pickup truck, and I didn't take the antenna off, and I was trying to like edge work around the base of the
Kinda
antenna.
dancing around it.
Yeah, and I popped up and hit the antenna, and that thing went about 15 times in my forehead. and, and they
I
all
just
looked at they
pictured it
all looked
watching
at me, and
he did the visual.
yeah, yeah, everybody in the detail shop looked at me and goes, "That's why they call them whip antennas." I'm just like,
Oh my
"Oh,
god.
motherfucker," like
That's yeah.
I can say at least I never did one of those, like, because we used to wear the aprons in the detail shop, and I never did one of those, like, got the rotary caught in the apron, and it twists all up, and I never did one of those.
Okay.
Um,
I wear an apron if I'm doing more than a one step, because then it's like involved. So
Yeah.
I wear my Rupes apron. I
Uh-huh.
do. Thanks, Jason.
I had one of my buddies, this was, like, obviously, like, light years later on when the, iPhones and headphones and stuff came out. He got his headphones caught wire caught in the
Oh
buffer,
no.
ripped him out of his ears, and then proceeded to spin around, and he had, like, welts on his chest from where the where
Mhm.
the earbuds hit him, like
Yeah.
so at least I never did anything that. One whip antenna was all it took for me to, like, every time after that, make sure I took the antenna off, or I just didn't dance around the base of it trying to edge it. Um,
Yeah.
so I was a quick learner. I was a
Well,
quick
at
learner.
Jeep, because like when I applied, I didn't get hired for like literally like a year and a half later. So like
Mhm.
the training and stuff that I did was pretty intense. So like those degloving videos,
Uh-huh.
they will make sure like, hey girl, put your hair up. Like, cause you'll remember that fucking training video where the girl got, sucked into this and you're like, hey, put your hair up.
Oh,
Hey,
wow.
don't wear that necklace. Like you're at it like, hey, don't wear bracelets are cute, but not in a factory. Like there's stuff you don't do, like don't wear rings. You don't want to get your ring caught somewhere and then the engine gets taken up.
Yeah.
There's
Wow.
been a handful of casualties in the factory in the last couple
Oh,
years,
yeah. I can
and
imagine.
especially at that one. I mean, there's industrial accidents pretty much at every big factory. You just don't hear about it unless you know the people that work there,
Right,
because
right. Yeah, because
nobody
they
ever
keep on hush
passes
hush,
away
yeah.
on factory ground. They always
Yeah.
pass away in the ambulance leaving or at the hospital. But yeah, there's been some crush injuries, and my partner actually seen one recently.
Oh,
And
wow.
there's just shit's dangerous. So if you're using a rotary wrong and you got the trigger lock,
Mhm.
and you're in a tight, like when you're doing boats, especially boats that are propped up, you're an inch away from another 60,000-pound boat that you can't touch. So if
Oh, yeah.
you're trying to do this and then that thing takes off and then it's just going to keep going back and forth between, and your face is going to get sanded off in the process because you got the trigger lock on.
Yep, yep.
Oh yeah, there's been a
That's
couple
the one
times
thing
where
I try when I'm using a rotary, I try not to use the trigger lock,
nope.
um,
Hmm.
just because, I remember one time
That exact reason.
I was doing a boat at the car wash, and I had the trigger lock, and it was one of those scenarios where, like you said, right, like I was at a weird angle, and and it did because I was holding it at a weird angle, it did that bucking bronco hop thing and, like, caught me on my thigh and just, give me a nice little
You
raspberry.
dig in for a second too.
I mean, it wasn't bad, it didn't take skin off or anything like that, but it
Mhm.
did leave a red mark,
Yeah.
and it was because I had the trigger locked, so like, I was trying to pull the trigger to get it off. Luckily, with all of my experiences in the car wash and everything, I do feel like I have some pretty quick reflexes, so, like, as soon as it bucked and hit, and I was able to, like, pull it back real quick versus just, like, let
Yeah.
it bang up on
Mhm.
my leg and everything, yeah.
That's the funny thing I noticed. Like when I go from rotary to DA, like when I start to finish down, like
Mhm.
I'll be holding the DA so intense because I'm holding the trigger, and then I'm like, all right, you can chill now, bro. You're on DA. You're using
Yeah.
foam. Like
Yeah.
it's not, you know what I mean? You're not cutting anymore. So like
Right,
oh
right.
look, trigger lock again. And I'm like, relax this.
Yeah, yeah, yeah,
Yeah, I definitely have noticed that too. Because sometimes with boats, you don't really use DA till like the very last day, or
right.
you might not at all. Especially with Mike Ryan, you know what I mean. You're not really using a DA; it's rotary all day long. So it's like you don't really get to use the trigger. You know what I mean? You're not going to use
Yeah.
it. So like it's just all the different techniques and paying attention to all that stuff. Because yeah, I don't like using trigger lock for that exact reason. And some of them are kind of weird, or like the new Rupes battery ones, they're slightly different. So it's
Okay.
like if they're not in the exact location where I'm used to, it's like I won't use it. I'll just I'm just gonna use the trigger.
Yeah,
Like
yeah.
if somebody's showing me something like use the trigger lock, I'm like, I don't know this tool yet. Leave me alone.
Right, 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 exactly.
This is new.
Yeah, with a DA, I like to, I'll trigger lock it all day long and everything,
Hmm.
but yeah, when I'm using a rotary,
Yep.
I try not to. I try to keep my finger on the trigger and be able to, if I need to pull off real fast, and I can kind of let go and
Yeah.
everything, slows down and whatnot. So yeah, it's I'll tell you what, it's this week was the first time I've used a rotary to cut and polish a car in a long time. Like to do a full car. I mean, I've had to like rotary some spots here and there, doing some wet sanding or something like that. But doing Haley's, the new car we bought for Haley, I had to do the whole thing with rotary. And
And
dude,
it was a new car?
well, it was new. It was newer. I mean,
Okay.
it was a lease turn in. Um, and apparently, I guess they ran it through like the car wash like every day. So it had those like real long linear scratches,
Yep.
light scratches, but it's
Mhm.
an Audi, so it's rock hard paint. And I knew that,
And it was white.
yeah, and it was white. I mean, I honestly like, I could have got away with, maybe not being perfect, but it's me and it's my car, my
Mhm.
daughter's car. Like I want it to be perfect. But I knew if I was going to try to cut it with a rotary or with a DA, to play it safer, I knew in the long run I was just going to annihilate the paint, you know? Um, and so I said, well, screw it. Like I'll hit it with the rotary. I'll cut
Just
it with
rip
the
the Band-Aid
rotary.
off now. Yep.
Yeah, yeah. And and it cuts so much faster too, I don't care what certain people in the industry say, like, oh, DAs go faster than rotary. You're a fucking retard. Stop saying that. Um, it's not true. And it does more damage than it does good anyways.
Well, especially when people
Um,
repeat that bad information, yeah.
yeah. But I'll tell you what, man, like, we're talking years since I've done a full car with a rotary, and I forgot like how beat up you get versus a DA, working a
Mhm.
rotary all day long.
Yeah, 'cause instead of the tool doing your body is doing
Yeah,
Yep.
yeah. I came home and I was just like stiffed up, like, and Michelle's looking at me. She's like, "You okay?" And I'm like, "Fucking rotary got me." Like I'm just like, like
For the
I,
stretch.
s-
Right.
yeah, it's like, listen, I'm in my Danny Glover years. I'm too old for this shit. So, I gotta, uh, but it's funny, like, so afterwards, because again, it's been a long time since I've had a car that was so hammered that I needed to rotary cut it.
At that
Because you
level, yeah.
Yeah, because usually everything I get is, like, so new, like, I'm, like, DA with a one step, and it's, because it doesn't have a lot of swirls or scratches on it, it's very minimal, and, um and it was funny because I was talking to Noxie, um, afterwards, and I was like, "Bro, the paint on this thing now is just fucking money." And he goes, "Yeah." And I'm like, "Why the fuck didn't you guys tell me about this rotary thing sooner?" He's like, "Bro, I've been fucking telling you for 5 years that rotary makes the paint look better."
Yep.
Yeah, the only thing that sucked about it was I had to do basically like a 3-step on it. So I cut it with an old school lamb's wool, um, one of the big ass motherfuckers, pads.
Mhm.
Um, and then I slapped a Rupes yellow wool and did like a step down cut. And then I went to the DA with the foam and
Mhm.
then polished it out just to make sure it was good. So yeah, so that was the other thing. I'm used to doing most of the cars that I do are so new. It's either like a one step or like a 1.5 step or whatever.
Yeah. Mhm.
And this one was a full 2 days of cutting and polishing.
Mhm.
I was like,
Yep.
man, people do this every day, like, like, and they charge $200 for it, like,
Right.
what?
Right. Raise your prices, know your skills.
Yeah, exactly, exactly. It was funny. I had one of my detailer buddies call me, and and he's like, "What are you doing?" I was like, "Ah, dude, I'm in the middle of detailing this car." He's like, "Yeah." He's like, "Making good money on it?" I was like, "No, fucker thing cost me $30,000." He's like, "What?" I was like, "Yeah, it's my daughter's car." So I was like, "I'm not making any money, and I had to buy it." So
Right.
he's like,
Negative profit margin,
"Yeah,
actually.
yeah." He's like, "Oh shit." He's like, "I thought you like fucked it up." I was like, "No." So yeah. It was a fun week, but she was happy. That's all that mattered at the end of the day. So
Yeah, that's all that matters. Yep.
yeah, yeah,
Hmm.
yeah, man. So all right. Well, what else you got? You want to talk about anything else?
I don't know. What do you want to talk about? We can get deep and spiritual if you want. I don't
Let's
know.
go. What do you want to talk about?
I don't know. A lot of people don't really know that. Hold on. I gotta let my dogs in. They won't stop
Yeah,
barking if you
yeah.
don't
Go
mind.
ahead.
Okay. Sorry.
Go ahead.
Come on. Come on. Here we go. My neighbors like to have bonfires, so they just sit there and bark at them, and I'm like, shut up.
Oh, gotcha.
Um, no, a lot of people don't really know, like, when I say, like, I wasn't allowed in my dad's garage, people don't really know what that means, but, like,
Okay.
my parents kind of abandoned all three of their kids at a young
Oh
age.
wow.
So I had to move in with my older sister and finish high school. So shit was rough for a while. Like, I didn't really think I would make it past 25, to be honest,
Really?
when I was younger, just because, like, I mean, I'm not gonna be like, oh, I'm from the ghetto or anything, but like, I wasn't on drugs. Let's be honest. I never had a
Okay.
drinking problem. I never did any drugs or anything. But like, kids were just dying. Like, I had friends there was a kid in my high school that fell through a roof and he died and got impaled.
Oh shit.
Both my sisters lost kids in their grade schools when they were growing up. There was a lot of gun violence on my side of town growing up, so I lost a lot of people to stupid gang shit. Our best friend Cody, there was always four of us, me, Tyler, Jody, and Cody, and we all partied one night and he just didn't wake up the next day. So like,
Wow.
people just die, and that's really stupid and really shitty, but like, a lot of us where we came from, like, with the kind of situations we were dealt with, like, we didn't really think we would ever kind of make anything of ourselves, and kind of growing up, people didn't really tell us we would, because
Right.
you go to public school and they don't really care about your test scores, and only the kids that have 4.0s are prospected to go to colleges and talk to about that stuff. And when you don't have parents to like enrich you and tell you like high school is important and shit like that, you don't really know until like your senior year. You know what I mean? Like,
Right. Yeah. Yeah.
so, because you're busy being your older sister's first kid, and she's only 4 years older than you,
Wow.
married, trying to navigate her own life, and shit like that. So, right after high school, she told me to move out, and I had my first apartment, like literally at 18, the week after I moved out of high school, and I had like three or four jobs pretty much anytime at all times. I was a bartender. I worked overnight at the gas station forever, and then I kind of worked my way up to full manager. I was a dental assistant after that kind of stuff stopped. And then, like I said, worked at the Jeep factory, and then now I'm here. But yeah, it sucks doing all that shit without the support of your parents.
Wow. Was there like a reason for it? Were
Uh, like they owned a carryout when we were younger, and like when they like sold that or whatever, they just never really tried to find any other jobs. Like here in
okay.
town,
Yeah.
they moved to Columbus, which is like 4 hours away,
Okay.
and they would just be gone for like months at a time. So like, thank God we had our driver's license and shit. I was like a sophomore, junior in high school, just like driving myself to school, not calling off or nothing, just like going to school, making sure that I at least did that. And then junior and senior year is when I took dental, and I was like, okay, at least I can have a job after high school. And then
Right.
I didn't even do that job until I was like 22 or 23. So yeah, life was rough. I was bouncing around. I moved every like 6 months because it was just like I had a shitty landlord, or somebody broke into my apartment and stole my dog and all my shit again.
Yeah.
So yeah, shit was ghetto for a while, and kind of until it wasn't. So
Wow.
that's why like every day is just so cool, because it's like you really do get to not have to like work in a factory or work in a
Yeah.
fast food place or work at a gas station where you can't take a break and you can't really do anything for yourself, because you got to close and then open and then open and then close, or some manager is mad that the floor is dirty even though it wasn't your fault, and now you get to skip out on your 25-cent raise that you thought you were getting, because they only give raises every 2 years at the gas station. You know what I
Oh,
mean? So
geez.
it's like,
Yeah.
when you can kind of break out of that matrix and realize like it's not that bad. It's actually kind of cool. And like, you don't really need the support of everybody you think you need. You know what I mean? Like, go out there and do it yourself. And it's terrifying. Like, it's still terrifying every day.
Right, right, yeah.
Like to have a mortgage and 3 car payments and insurance, 17 insurance policies on every building, plus the shop and everything that goes on there. And I have no employees either. Some people are like, oh yeah, when you go on the trips, like who's working at your shop? And I'm like,
Yeah. But nobody.
bitch,
Yeah.
it's closed. I'm
Yeah. Yeah.
like $67 a day to be open. I'm losing that every time I'm here kicking it.
Right,
Like,
right.
you know what
Yeah.
I mean? So and that's not shop time. That's just what it costs
Yeah,
to
for the shop.
to
Yeah,
open
for your rent, yeah.
or open that fucking door every morning. It's like $68 with rent and insurance and
Wow.
gas lights, electric. You know what I mean? Like
Yeah. So
that's
let
not
me
even
ask
my
you
shop
this,
rate.
did you ever kind of patch that relationship with your parents? Or, I mean, is it just you guys split and that's that? Wow.
So they moved back to Toledo like probably like 7 or 8 years later.
Mhm.
And they were like, oh, we're back. And we're like, yeah, cool. But like, I remember the first Mother's Day, my mom was back in town and I bought her this like dope ass like coffee pot because it like matched her kitchen. She had like red everything. And she's like, I haven't drank coffee in years. And I was like, oh, okay, I don't really know you. Okay, that's weird. So
Wow.
like we tried to like repair the relationship, but like some people are just really toxic and it's okay to like stop people from hating you and your lifestyle. And like if people just come from rage and chaos and fucking, you know, fire and brimstone, like you don't have to accept that as
Right.
like you're normal. Like you don't. And sometimes it takes you until you're like 21, 22, 26, 27 to realize that. So it's been probably like 4 or 5 years now. Yeah, since
Wow.
we went full no contact on purpose. My sisters, they have kids. They wrote letters like, "Hey, like you're just not, you know." And yeah, don't talk to my parents. Like that's why I kind of posted a little thing the other day because it's like not that everybody has to know, but like everybody has a story. Everybody kind of deserves to know. And sometimes
Right.
when people wonder like, why do you care so much about certain stuff? It's like because you don't really know how many times people didn't care about stuff,
Yeah.
especially me. No one really checked on me or certain things. So that's why I'm going to go balls to the wall for any customer that wants to even talk about car detailing. It's like, oh, for sure, I can definitely help you because there were times where nobody helped me and I definitely needed it. So that's why it's like, I'll pay for a training because, like, I never had, my dad was a
Uh-huh.
huge car guy. He used to drag race and, like, he can, like, replicate car parts out of fiberglass. Like, he can
Oh,
make
wow.
molds. He's like a
Okay.
master mold maker. That doesn't trump the fact that you're not a good person.
Right, right. Yeah.
Your skills do not outweigh how you treat people or what you do to certain people or how you talk to just that doesn't you can be cool at what you do but be a horrible person. And I think a
Yeah.
lot of people like people get celebrity, they just are become obsessed with people and then they're like, oh my god, this shocking scandal. It's like, well, if you were paying attention the whole time, they were actually a shitty person the whole time.
Yeah, yeah,
You
exactly.
know what I mean? So
Yeah,
like,
yeah.
and that's why when I found when I found the round table, I was like, oh, you guys make sure nobody's about any kind of bullshit.
Yeah.
Like we're always checking on each other, like to make sure that not only are we okay, but like, hey, like I heard you were having a bad day, like you need to talk about it. Like, hey, I seen that somebody said something, like, can we talk about that? Because I don't really think that that's you. Like, we're not just out here running businesses doing nothing. Like, we're all talking pretty much every week, making sure that we're all good. And didn't really always have that. And
Yeah.
it's very, very beneficial to somebody in the car world, that doesn't have to do everything themselves. Because, I have friends and my sisters are my rocks, but like I've had to do everything myself. And it gets hard and expensive to do shit the right way. And people are like, oh, can I get a discount? It's like, bitch, if you only knew how
Yeah.
hard it was to get here, like go ask
Yeah.
Walmart for a discount. Like you don't
Yeah,
do
yeah,
that.
exactly.
So
Yeah.
don't.
Listen, let's be honest. Walmart will give you that discount, but when you peek behind the sign that says that it's a drop down price, it's the same price. They just
Right,
put drop down.
right. Or it might be cheap, but you can go there and blow up the bathroom and steal
Yeah.
toilet paper.
Yeah, exactly.
Like, guess who buys the toilet paper in my bathroom?
Yeah, not
I do.
them.
So, like,
Yeah.
when you come in my shop and it's clean and you can have a coffee and, watch Netflix and, do whatever you want to do, like, and sometimes people are like, oh, I see you go on these trips. That must be nice. What do you mean? It's not a write-off till next April. The fuck you
Yeah.
talking about? What do you
Exactly.
mean? I just had to pay for that. I I paid for it right here. I might talk to some of you big guys that have these big companies, but I don't work for any of them. You know what I
Yeah.
mean? I don't work for Rupes or any of those big chemical companies that I work with. I don't work for them. I use them.
Yeah.
You know what I mean? I have a little bit of, what we get as installers, but like I'm not out here, I represent them on a personal level, but I don't work for that. You know what I mean? Like
Yeah. Yeah.
it's
Well, and not only that, like you said, I mean, there definitely are some brands out there that try to take care of their installers or whatever. But at the same time, like,
and mine
you know,
do. Yep.
right. But at the same time, you're still paying for all of this chemical, and
Right.
you can't just go to Tommy and be like, I mean, okay, Tommy, like, I get it. It's this much money, but it's me. Like, give me a deal. Like your
Right.
clients do to you,
I would
right?
love
Like,
I would love to play that card. I
yeah.
could probably play it with half, but I'm not gonna. Like it
Right,
costs
right.
money. Like
So it's always crazy. And listen, I mean, I get it because I was always that way. Like I was always the guy that was like, let's try and barter this. Let's try it. Like, come on, like, is that the best you can do? Like, like whatever. And then
yeah,
and
I
then
get that. We were all kind of raised in that like thrift market
right,
type
right,
attitude, but
right. But then I'll tell you where it switched
mhm.
because it was kind of the same thing. When I worked at the car wash for all those years, like anywhere that I went that tipped, I always tipped more than what I thought because I worked in an industry that, you know, a big portion of your paycheck was tips, or
You've worked for tips, is what you're saying.
right, right, exactly.
Not
Yes.
enough
Yes.
people in this world have, so they don't
Right.
understand it.
Right. I mean, when I first started detailing at the car wash, and this is gonna be dating myself, it was like 95.
I was gonna say, how
My
old are you?
buddy, I just turned 52 a couple of months back. Um, so my pay was $4.25 an hour plus my tips. And as
Okay.
detailers, we got to keep cash tips. The car wash, it was pool tips, right? And then it would go like on your paycheck. But because we were detailers and we worked on the cars, we kept our own tips. And I could make as much in a week off tips than I would my hourly.
Yeah.
So I was living off of tips and just stacking checks, which was nice when you're like 22, 23, and you're making,
Mhm.
four or $500 in tips, and then you're making another three or $400 in checks or whatever. So I always tried to tip more.
Yeah.
The minute I opened my business and I wasn't working for somebody else that I could give away free car washes because I thought this girl was cute or this was a cool guy or we were friends or whatever the case may be.
Mhm.
That's when I realized, you know, that kind of stopped asking people, is that the best you could do? Like if I call somebody to do something and they're like, "Man, it's this price." I'm like, "Okay." You know? Now, yeah, I'm
Yeah.
gonna do the thing that all of us detailers hate, right? But it's because I am in a partnership and I do not do anything without at least consulting my wife to see what she thinks. Is I do say that, okay, well, I'm gonna talk to my wife about it, right? Because I'm not an idiot. I'm not gonna just go
Right.
do something and we don't have the money to do it, right? So I'm not putting myself in that situation. So um, but like my wife's like, "Oh, well, you think we can get it cheaper?" I'm like, "Look, like I don't like it when people come to me and do that. So
Yeah.
I'm not going to do it to this person. And so even now my wife has kind of started to understand it, like we don't like it when people come to the shop and try to do that. So we don't try to do it to other people. Like if you tell me that's your price, like and I'm comfortable with the way you sold it to me, I'm paying you, you know? And
Right,
and
especially things that are customized services that are being
right.
provided like we are,
Right.
because like my business name is Luxury Automotive Services LLC.
Mhm.
That might offend some people, but it's not a I'm open free for all, everybody come see me. It's
Right,
a,
exactly.
hey, this is my process, this is my
Mhm.
cost, and if you look at my other work, this is where your car can be. But if you don't want to do that or that or that, I can't make your car look like this
Right.
because you're trying to skip everything. You don't want to book an appointment, you don't want to pay a deposit, you don't want to come in and let me look at it. You just want to drop it off and leave and not even say hi.
Right.
You can do that at a car wash where all they're going to do is, vacuum it and then run it through.
Exactly.
That's fine, but that is not who in the hell I am, and I don't ever want to be that. So people are
Yeah.
like, oh, I just want to wipe down. Hi, did you look at my website? I have like a 24-point detail list that I do.
Yeah.
And they're like, oh, well, you don't need to do 3 air purges. Just vacuum it once. And I'm like, ma'am, no. Like
Yeah.
when your surgeon tells you that your nose job is going to be this much, you're like, "Oh, that's too expensive. Don't use the lidocaine
Yeah,
and let's
yeah,
skip the
exactly. Yeah.
anesthetic. Can we
Yeah.
get that down to 8?" You know what I mean? And it's like when people
Yeah.
start to pick and choose, and it's like I get it, they don't understand, but it's like if I don't do this, this, and this, like I said, your car can't look like that. Like if you don't go stand in line at Chipotle, guess what? You're not getting a fucking burrito.
Right.
You know what I mean? So it's like when they don't want to do any of the necessary work to even, it's like, well, maybe I can't help you. You don't want a detail. You want a little, there. And then a couple people have been like, hey, if you go to this drive-through car wash from 9 to 5, they have free vacuums.
Mhm.
Like I can't help you. You want a literal vacuum and a wipe down? Like the one place they even have like interior cleaner and rags nowadays, like the
Yep.
Whitewater Express or whatever. I'm like,
Mhm.
I get it. You don't want to pay for it, but you'll never want to. So a detail is never what you want then. So I'm sorry.
Yeah, and that's the biggest thing I think people don't fully understand is there is a difference between car wash, and I'm not just saying like the tunnels or the do it yourselves or whatever, like car wash and then detail. I mean, it's a huge difference, you know? I mean, the whole purpose of detail is that keyword detail. It is doing the details, getting into the smaller places,
Yeah,
doing those finer touches and things. If you just want a car wash, then go to the car wash. And I tell people that I'm not
yeah.
a car wash, you know.
Mhm.
Um, I tell them all the time, because well, I just need a wash and a vacuum. Okay, well, there's a car wash down the street. I don't do wash and vacuums. Not
I
not
had this guy, he owned like a local paving company or whatever, and he was like, oh, I have 6 cars. I need them detailed every Friday. And I was like, you need a professionally detailed car every Friday? Why are your cars getting that dirty? Like, how about we detail one and then we maintenance it? And he was like, if you can't handle it, you don't. And I was like,
yeah,
I think you want a mobile hand wash service.
yeah,
You called a detailer with their own shop. I can change my protocol a little bit and I can come out and see them, but if I don't know what kind of vehicles he had, he might have been lying about, that's always
right.
it's
They're,
always 3 Cadillacs. But it wasn't a
yeah, yeah,
scam. It
yeah.
was a
They're
real
probably
person.
yeah. It was all
It was
black
a real
metal.
person. He was a local guy, so I
Yeah,
did know of them. But I was like, that's like calling a plastic surgeon when you should just go see the dermatologist.
yeah.
Like, not that I can't help
Well,
you, but you're gonna
right. But
pay
the
a
other thing too
premium.
is think about it. There's car washers out there calling themselves detailers. So, like, oh yeah, we detailed your car today. What'd you do? We washed it, we vacuumed it out, we cleaned the windows, we slapped some armor on the tires. It was detailed. No, you did a car
Or
wash.
they have one of those little hand wash stations where it's like an awning.
Hmm.
And it's like, I'm not ragging on any of those, but that is different than what I do. But you're
Right.
calling me expecting me to do that for their price.
Hmm.
I can't. Like I said, you're trying to skip my little process and you can't. So I'm sorry, but
Yeah.
you're
That's why I always say I don't want McDonald's clients.
no.
I want the Ruth's Chris clients.
I had a guy call me today and I almost wanted to hang up on him because he was about to cancel his appointment with another local detail shop if I gave him a better price. And I was like, that's not really how it works. And like, I
Yeah.
don't know why they took your appointment without a deposit anyway, because they should have, because I know that shop and I thought they did. But he called me like, yeah, it was a big F450. It was in the oil rigs. It needs steam cleaning. The upholstery's ruined. And they said like $450. And I was like, yeah, I'm probably there too. For an F450, and you
Yeah.
want the inside shampooed because it was an oil truck? Yes, sir. That is a very accurate price. And if they can get you in tomorrow, I highly would recommend going with them because I'm booked out until July 2nd. Like, you called me because you want me to undercut their price and then do more work.
Right,
I
right.
I don't, and I know that detailer. He's also in the round table. He's not a bad guy. I'm not
Right.
gonna take a client and then take money from his people. That's stupid. I was just
Yeah.
like, no, sir. I was like that. I was like, you should go with it. I'd be more expensive than that. And I kind of lied a little bit, but
Yeah,
I was just like, I
I
don't.
usually like to tell people that call me about that, and I usually when they say like, "Oh yeah, this guy, he said he would, they'll do it for this much," but I thought that was kind of expensive, and I'm just like, "Oh man, you don't even want to hear my price then." And they're like, "Really?" And I'm like, "Yeah." I forget there was some lady called me a while back, like a couple weeks back or whatever, and I forget what she needed, what she was looking to get done, but it was like I think it was an interior detail or something like that, and they were the place was going to charge her, I think, like uh or no, okay, so I know what it was. So she moved here from Missouri, so she was looking for a full detail, and so her full detail was an interior with a wash and a sealant on the outside. And I said, okay. I said, sight unseen. I'm 250 for a wash and a sealant, and I'm 250 to start on the interior if it doesn't need any hot water extraction. I said that's a hit it with an enzyme, agitate it, dry vac it, wipe all the vinyl down on the doors, the dash, the center console, condition it, inside windows. And she's like, yeah, that's what they did. She's like, man, in Missouri they charge like 150, and I was like, yeah, like it's not, I'm not doing it for $150, lady. Like, like I'm just not. And she was like, well, no, like I get it. You're probably way more detailed than they were. Like da 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 da. She's like, it's just out of my budget. But yeah, I mean, like I tell people all the time when they're like, oh, this guy's going to charge me like this much, and I'm like, well, then you definitely don't want to hear my price because I guarantee you they're cheaper than me. Like, really? And I'm like, yeah, like my price will be 3 times what they're charging you. Why? And I'm like, look, I have 30 years experience. I go to multiple trainings. My time's worth my time.
Mhm.
That's all it is.
Yeah. But like the whole way that he called me, because like I was actually delivering a customer's car back to him, so I missed the call because I don't answer my phone when I'm driving other clients' vehicles, obviously. Plus
Right.
my insurance, I can't. Plus it's bad. So I missed the call and I called him back. And I was like, hey, I noticed I missed your call, blah, blah, blah. Sorry, this is Timothy. I'd like to, what can I help you with? The first thing he says to me is he's like, yeah, I was going to leave you a voicemail, but I got another call, so I just hung up on you. And I was like, okay, so within 20 minutes, let me get this straight. Within 20 minutes of me missing your call, you already called and lied to another detail shop and had another missed call, but couldn't. And I was just like, everything you're saying is weird. And then, like I said,
Yeah.
he wanted to just cancel if I gave him a better price. And I was like, well, I'm not giving you a better price, and I'm not going to be the reason you cancel on another good detail shop because everything about you was just weird. I'm okay. Thank you.
Yeah. Well, I applaud you for doing that, dude, because this day and age, there's a lot of guys out there that would have undercut that other detailer just to take the job. So good on you for not screwing over that other shop
And also, like I said,
just
the way that he like described it, he kept saying steam clean, and I let him know. I was like, yeah, steam cleaning is like a very small part of the detail. Like I'm
yeah.
not going to be steam cleaning like your glass and your tires with a steam cleaner. So like steam cleaner was every other word he used, and I was just like, what is with the steam cleaner that you're obsessed with? Like, I'll
Right.
use,
Yeah.
like I said, hot water extraction like a couple different times. And he's like, yeah, steamer. And I was just like, it's okay. Like,
Yeah.
I'm trying to explain my process and why their price will be that high, and also why my price would also be that high, because it's not just steaming, it's a lot of different chemicals. And then he's like, yeah, and then the outside too, because I'm gonna get it wrapped, but there's all this stuff on it that needs to come off. And I was like, so you need like a full exterior detail, not just like a little hand wash. Because if you're gonna wrap it, and
Yeah.
even me, I don't wrap cars, but I can prep a car to be wrapped. You cannot wrap a filthy car, because
Hmm.
what'll happen, A, it won't adhere, and B, it'll look like the car has acne.
Hmm.
So I was like, everything you just said contradicted itself, because you said it's not that bad, but there's oil. You want it hand washed, but then you're wrapping it. Like, who's going to wrap it that's not going to prep it properly? You know what I
Right.
mean? So I already have questions about where you're going
Well,
to get it
you
wrapped.
already know that it's going to be the guy that does a better deal or does a cheaper price than the guy that he's already got an
And I
appointment
was
with.
just like, okay, yeah, I can't prep your car for a wrap for anything close to what they're telling you. So go
Yeah.
ahead, because that was only their interior price. I was like, you didn't even tell them you want an exterior, so you're going to show up with your interior and then add an exterior?
Yeah. Yeah. Exactly.
Okay, buddy, you are all over the place. I'm
Yeah.
booked. You already have an appointment. Please don't cancel it. They're a good shop. Have a good day.
Yeah.
Like,
Yeah.
I felt like I couldn't help him.
Yeah.
Like in Happy Gilmore, like, you're awarded no points. It's now Eric's turn. Like,
Yeah. 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 I mean, sometimes it's okay just to tell people like I'm not the detailer for you, you know?
yeah.
Like I'm
Mhm.
not I'm not the person you're looking, I'm not the droid you're looking for, you know? Like
Yeah, and like, I don't mind if you have like a shop full of employees and they can bang out what takes me 5, 6
yeah.
hours. I don't mind, but I'm honest. I need your car half the day or all day, and I work by myself, this and this. And if that's not okay with you, that is totally fine. But like I said, you want to go to Chipotle, you got to go in there, you got to park, you got to get in line. You might not want to use
Mhm.
the little ordering kiosk. You might not like talking out loud, but you got to go and do what Chipotle asks you to do to get that Chipotle.
Exactly.
You want your car to look like my friends' cars do on Instagram, with no filters, and that you've seen that car with scratches 3 weeks ago at the bonfire? I need it for a day, and it's gonna be four, five, $600, because I'm restoring paint. Go get it repainted for 7 grand, please.
Yeah.
And you're mad that you want me to restore it for 800 and get rid of 13 years of damage? You know what I mean? And it's just like, well, I can't help you. Sorry. And not that I want to argue price or skills, but it's like, go to a body shop and get a quote. Body shops don't really buff paint unless
No,
they're repainting it. They're not going to do a
exactly.
one step. You know
And
what I
even
mean?
and even then, I mean, we've had this conversation on here before is
Yeah.
body shop detailers don't detail the paint like detailers detail the paint. They're just trying to eliminate that those sanding defects and that's it. They're not really trying to like pull everything out, make it nice and shiny, whatever. They're trying to just make it good enough to pass it,
Get
for
it
the
picked
most
up
part.
and passed. Yep.
Yeah.
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 No
And that's
pun
why
intended.
that's why. I mean, we as detailers know we can only do so much with paint. So we recommend body shops. You got to take it to body shop. You got to get it painted. And
Mm-hmm.
body shops are like, you got to take this to a detailer and you got to get them to do their thing
Yeah.
with it. Because I've
Yep.
had that happen before. I've had clients come to me and be like, I took it to a body shop. And, like, they're just like, no, you got to go to a detailer for this type of work or whatever.
Mm-hmm.
Um, so,
My
yeah.
phone's better. I was going to show you. I have it on a clipboard at my shop, but it's this little image that I have, and it's in my pricing guide, and it shows like the different levels of defects. Like, here's bird poop,
Okay.
tar, little
Hmm.
stuff, all the way up to big scratches, and it shows the substrate. And I literally have a line like right here, and I'm like, this is a body shop.
Yeah.
This is two-step with wet sanding. This is a basic little two-step. Here's a one-step. Like, clay barring will remove this. Washing it's only going to get rid of this. And I'm like, your car can't physically look this good. It's literally a little baby chart. And even Jackie wants to take it too, because she was like, that's so basic, because it's just so hard to explain it to people.
Yeah.
Because you have your body and your substrate, and then if there's Bondo, and then your primer, and then your paint if that's thick enough, and then all this clear. And it's like people don't understand that. So it's like, if your scratch is this deep, we can fix it, but it's going to cost this much. Or, like I said, right where that slash is, if you can see substrate, body shop, because I'm not using a little cheap paint pen that has no clear in it that's going to pop out in 3 months.
Mhm.
I'm not doing that. If I want to do it right, I'll use Touch Up RX paint or something like that. Like,
Right.
oh, I
Yeah.
got a Touch Up pen in the glove box. Throw it away, Cindy. I don't want it. Like,
Exactly. Yeah.
yeah, let me do
Yeah.
it my way. I'll order you some.
And that's a whole nother thing too with like touch up paint. I mean, like I know guys that's all they do, and they just go
Mhm.
to dealerships and
Yep.
X amount of dollars per hood or per bumper, and they just touch the shit up out of them, sand them down, polish them out, see you later, click the
Hmm.
check, go,
Yep.
you know. So I mean, Esme is another one that I see all the time. She does a ton of touch up stuff. In fact, I think she just posted. I think it was earlier this week. She posted a video of a Ferrari that was the hood was all peppered, and she did the touch up work on it. She always seems to do pretty good. With it, I always feel like it doesn't matter like how good you are with touch up paint. Like if you really get close enough to it, you can still tell.
Well,
You
once you
know?
learn what to look for, you can never unsee it. So yeah.
Yeah, yeah, I
So
know.
sometimes if stuff is too peppered, they're like, "Oh, I want a coating." I'm like, "Well, call me in 90 days after you get this painted,
Yeah,
because
yeah,
I
exactly.
don't I don't want to seal in Swiss cheese, like,
Yeah,
and especially if it's like, if there's a couple, it's fine. But if it's peppered, it's like,
yeah,
mm, if
yeah.
I touch this
Nothing.
up, it would take me 10 hours with a little
Yeah,
one.
exactly,
You know what I
exactly.
mean? Like, I can't. No, go get it resprayed for 600-700 bucks. Then you'll have brand new clear, and
Yep.
then I'll have all that to work with.
Yeah. Then we'll talk about how shitty it looks underneath the lights and everything because, they didn't spray it right or sand it down right or any of
And
that
then I'll
stuff.
correct it. Yeah,
Yeah, yeah, and then we'll
yes.
fix it, yeah.
And it's funny too, because like in my last couple months at Jeep, once I learned like how to correctly measure paint,
Uh-huh.
I would bring my paint thickness gauge. Oh, the supervisors hated that. They hated that
"There's
because,
not enough paint on this. There's not enough paint on this."
or I'd be like, who sanded that? Like, can I go to the paint department? Like, why am I stuck in assembly? And like, yeah, they didn't want no part of that. So,
Nice. That's fun. Alright, man, listen, I got one last question for you.
yes.
So the nails, they always look good. So how do you doing this job and working with these chemicals, are you always wearing gloves to keep them, or are you just constantly having them redone? Because you
Well,
don't just do like a solid color, man. It's not even like you're like, oh, I chipped the paint, so I'm gonna like take some nail polish, take it off, I'm gonna repaint it myself. Like your shit's always like on par.
yeah, so her name is Halia Evans. She is a very good friend of mine. She is a fucking master artist. Like, she can I tell her all the time she needs to get into like pinstriping or something, like, or
Right.
painting door jams with people and characters, or painting rims, because she is good. She can
Uh-huh.
put like full saw seams on my nails. Like,
Wow.
and we've done it before. And but if you look up close, there's a bunch that are broken at the moment.
Okay.
But the paint she uses does not come off. Like, it
Oh, okay.
only comes off with a drill. It is like full acrylic gel that has to be cured with a light. So
Right, yeah.
no, it's really good paint.
Yeah. Because every time I see you, like, they always look good, and I'm just like, "Man, how the fuck does he, like, keep these things, like,
That's
always
all
looking
her.
good?"
Yep. Hmm.
Yeah, when he's dealing with these details and these chemicals and stuff, and then
Yeah,
and
they're
again, I mean, you could be putting gloves on, but, I
Yeah,
mean,
no,
like
the acrylic is pretty chemical resistant. I mean, to get it off, you have to soak it in acetone.
Yeah,
So,
yeah,
like, it's basically like car clear coat. Like, if you want to
yeah.
remove something, you got to leave a rag of acetone on there, to really fuck something up. You know what I mean?
Right,
Like,
right.
it's kind of like gel coat. You really have to like.
Yeah, fuck, yeah, yeah, exactly. Yeah, I remember one of my ex-girlfriends, her, like, family did nails, and so, like, she got into it and everything, so I
Okay.
remember, yeah, she had, practicing of, like, building up the acrylic and filing it
Mhm.
down and all that shit,
Yep.
but yeah. No, I was just curious, man, because like I said, they always are on point, and I was like, how the fuck you? I mean,
I try
I
to
don't do
save
anything with mine. I'm like the typical like bite them and everything, and I'm like
them.
can't even keep mine clean. So
And
uh,
I never bit him or anything either. And I had these nails at Jeep too, because like I had a friend that I hadn't really seen in a while. They passed away, and
mhm.
I went to their funeral. And for their funeral, I painted my nails black
Okay,
just because I felt like it, and I knew that she would really appreciate it. And
right,
I was like, why don't I always like? I didn't feel like pretty, but I felt more or less like I don't care about these. So why did I wait so long to care what other people cared?
right.
So I was just like, I'm gonna start doing that more. And then I just started to do like black and red and yellow and different colors. And then my nail tech I have now, I went to a birthday dinner with a friend of mine and she fucking roasted my nails. She was like, "Your ombre is off. That's cracked. Who did that?" And I told her, and she's like, No. I'm doing your nails from now on." And that was like 4 years ago now, I think.
Okay.
So yeah, every 2 weeks, and yeah, I've even had lights in my nails before, so
Oh wow.
they light up with NFC. So like, you got a wireless
Okay.
charger, they would light up with a wireless charger. Yep. So
You're like, hang on a second, the power went out. Hang on,
I'm like,
I
hey, but have
got
you
it. You're
seen
like,
this? Yeah. And these are little clouds and little airplanes for shine time because I knew I was gonna
oh,
go up
okay,
in that airplane. So I was like,
right,
that's
right.
perfect. So
Oh, that's cool. That's
yep.
cool. So you gonna do anything special for SEMA?
Yeah, I will. Yep. SEMA, MTE, any big trainings. I've had like the Angel Wax wings on them before.
Oh, that's cool.
Um, yeah. And then like when in my downtime, like I should have like my own little Instagram for them because I like how you can go to your gallery and like type something and you can search for it.
Yeah, yeah.
I'm kind of new to that. I didn't realize that till like a year ago. So I was like, man, how am I gonna go through and find all my nail posts? So I just typed the word fingernail and I was like, oh, I forgot about those. I had fruit, I had flames, I had Edward Scissorhands, like I've had
Jeez.
full movie scenes like Beetlejuice, American Horror Story. Like, yeah, we do crazy, and she's a spooky bitch. So like, as soon as it's like even close to Halloween, we do like
Halloween. Yeah.
Halloween from like late August to like Christmas. Like we do
Okay.
Halloween nails the whole time. So
Wow.
yeah.
No, that's awesome. All right. Well, listen, we are just about at the 2 hour mark.
Yes, we're about to
And
cross it.
yeah. And just like always, I've got to get up early tomorrow morning to go wash some cars. So
Yep, I have a client
y-
at 8 a.m. and she's one of my friend's moms, so I can, and a friend from grade school's mom, so I definitely can't be
okay.
late for her. So
Yeah. Yeah. Well, I think you're an hour behind me, aren't you? Or no, you're the same time. You're the same time as me, right? It's
where
almost
do
10
you live
o'clock.
anyway?
I'm in Florida.
Yeah, so me and
Yeah.
Jackie learned this. Florida and Ohio are very.
Yeah.
You're just super south, so we're same
Yeah.
time.
Yeah. Because Jason with Aquatech, he's in Ohio. So um
Oh,
and
okay.
then yeah, Rain's in Ohio. It's a bunch of people in Ohio.
Don't let Rain hear you say that because he just has a house here.
That's true.
He currently lives in fucking
Yeah.
whatever Florida.
Wherever.
So whenever
Wherever.
I'm like, yeah, me and Ray live in Ohio, he's like, no, I don't. And he always corrects
Yeah.
me.
Yeah. He's usually in Destin or whatever down
Yeah,
here
but
is
Chris Metcalf will claim Ohio with me. So
okay. Good for Chris. Good
because
for
he's in
Chris.
Columbus. Yep.
Yeah. Yeah. So
Good
listen, man,
Ohio
I
boys.
this has been awesome, dude. It's great to finally sit down and have a full on conversation with you. I really
Yeah, absolutely.
appreciate. I look forward to, I guess, probably SEMA. I don't know that I'm going to be anywhere where I would bump into you between now and then. I am
Yeah,
if
because
anybody.
everything else is kind of really small, individualized trainings for now. Like it's
Yeah,
either at
yeah.
the
I'm
Lopez garage or somebody's shop or
right, right. So if anybody's still listening, next week I am in Dallas for the refinery. I'm gonna hang out with them and meet some of their clients and customers and show them some Aquatech. Next month, into July, if anybody's interested, we're doing a joint training with Gloss University. So I will be in Chicago with Maddie and Dave, doing some Gloss University training and some Aquatech training. That one's going to be super fun. If you want to come to Chicago and flick the bean,
Chicago
Sign up.
is only like 3 hours from me. I love a Chicago day trip, so
Yeah.
ooh.
But yeah, man. So hey, listen. So if anybody wants to get in touch with you that doesn't already know you, they want to, maybe find out where they can get their nails done or get some interior knowledge or something like that. You got any ats you want to give anybody?
So where I'm from and my name, my website is super easy. It is just toledotim.com. On there, you can find who I am, what the hell I do, where my shop is, some of my certifications. I need to post a bunch more because it's been a while since I've updated that. It has direct links to my Instagram, and right now I'm working on converting everything over to Detail Bookie fully. So to book an appointment with me, you have to call me. So
Oh,
yeah,
nice.
go to toledotim.com and that should answer all the questions.
Perfect. Appreciate it again, buddy. You have a
Yeah,
great
not a
rest of your
problem.
night.
Yeah, anytime. And yeah, let's not just talk on the podcast. Let's talk more regularly or something
Yeah.
for sure.
Yeah. Let me know. I'll shoot you my number.
Okay, sounds good. I
So
appreciate it.